And we are now live. So the game is just about to start. Welcome every single one from all over the world. This particular event today is being streamed live all the way from England. And we have our medical and well-being team ready and able, willing to speak to all our audiences around the globe. The purpose of this particular platform is for MediLife, that stands for what it does. What does it do? Yeah, it's the ability to bring patient to doctors virtually, anywhere around the globe. That is our mission. And this particular platform is free for all, for virtual consultation by doctors to patient and patient to doctor. We do not charge for this. And you can provide information as you wish to any of our medical and healthcare professional on this platform tonight, and they'll be willing. If we had to go for any personal consultation remotely or face-to-face, that is possible at an affordable cost for MediLives, or from MediLives, I should say. Today, we are going to have some of our consultants, and we will provide them with a platform to introduce themselves. Today, we are going to be positioned in order to see how we can help a lot of the growing global community of MediLife that are willing and able to be part of this particular system. Today, healthcare show, today health program is being streamed on our Facebook, Instagram, and different parts of the social media, and people from all over the world, from Australia, from England, Germany, Nigeria, Uganda, America, all the different parts, South and North, are part of this particular program today. We have some of our researchers who are researching on different areas of medical health and assistance that can support you tonight. And they will be giving their own testimony, and you can confidentially and privately ask them some questions in terms of any area of your health. We have Grant Morrell, who does with things relating to stress and, NOP. We have our researcher, Professor, a will-be-coming Professor Love Edith Mendy, who is a research fellow, a research student in one of the Indian university. They're going to introduce themselves. Of course, you have my team, Angela, and one of my co-director, John McKay, who are going to be with me today in this particular platform. Then we have Tatiana, one of our pediatricians, who is going to be on the call today. So we are able to cover every aspect of medical condition that people may have. If we cannot have it covered with this current medical and well-being professional right now, you can send us a question and we will be able to process those questions, those medical conditions, and somebody will revert to you within the next few days and hopefully provide. So this is a virtual global consultation platform that enables people to be able to have access to medical dispensation wherever they are using your mobile phone. Isn't that really amazing that now the time has come where we can and we're able to connect with medical professionals in the comfort of our own home, in the comfort of our mobile phone, regardless of where you are. These are the proceedings for tonight. Our main consultant on diabetes is going to be Tony Kelly. Tony Kelly is going to introduce himself, right? Being a professional, he's always claiming that he's not a medical doctor, but through his own life experiences and everything he does, right, having a master's degree in a relevant field has given him that authority. Tony being working as part of the steering committee in one of the NHS trusts in England on this particular subject, diabetes. We know that diabetes is one of the silent killers around the globe. They kill people all over the world every single day, even more than COVID. And you're going to hear from Tony in a moment some of the potential route that this particular silent killer is taking. And Tony, with his own expertise, hopefully will be able to help you to understand how you can manage and deal with diabetes, type 1 and type 2, what the different types are, what is type 1 and what are possible remedy, what type 2, what are possible remedy. You cannot have a better authority about this subject more than the man that we're going to present to you tonight, Tony Kelly, all the way from England. And also after Tony, we would do about MediLife presentation in terms of how we came about with MediLife and what are the potential opportunities. Then we will have a stream of doctors and consultants who will be talking to the patient globally. You can have opportunity to ask questions only relevant to healthcare about your own condition. And if you're concerned of not relating to this question on the public domain, we are happy to take it confidentially and deal with it privately so that you will have your privacy and your data preserved. I need to stress that if we have to carry out any sort of consultation with you medically or in terms of well-being, for the purpose of GDPR, we may need to use your data, things like your name, your address, your telephone number. All of these are important. And also, as part of our disclaimer, we are not giving you a cure. What we're providing you is information that could help you to alleviate or reduce the adverse medical condition that you have at the moment. We will try our best to connect you with the best doctors, the best nurse or nurses, the best optician, the best gyno, the best cardio around the globe. That's what the MediLife platform does. That's what it presents to every single person on this particular platform. So without further ado, I only have some few seconds before I hand over to Tony Kelly, who is our consultant for tonight, who will be discussing with us for the next 40 minutes, issue relating to diabetes. Tony, the podium is yours. And I've also made you a co-host, so take your time to put your presentation on.
You're muted, Tony.
Sorry?
Okay,
Yeah,
we can hear
I
you
hear
now.
you now.
Yeah, you can hear me now, right?
Yeah.
So I'm putting up my first slides, which are
Sure.
the main PowerPoint. Right, here we go.
Yeah, Tony, we can see.
I'm ready to go. Yes, okay.
Yeah.
May I first of all thank you, Dr. Ahunsi, for inviting me onto your special MediLives webcam webinar tonight, and also for Angela Norton, who has assisted with the technology, because I am known for my technophobia. I must thank you for having me, because it's only in the last couple of weeks that a good friend of mine, Sophia Morgan Genus, gave you my name and you got in touch with me, and the rest is history. So here I am presenting across the world globally about diabetes. And so it's a diabetes awareness presentation, okay? So we move on to skipping. That's who I am in terms of my titles: Diabetes Strategic Patient Partner for NHS, which is the National Health Service, Birmingham and Solihull Clinical Commissioning Group. And on top of that, I'm also a diabetes ambassador and advocate. I'm going to skip that slide because we're not in a classroom situation. I have a disclaimer. I am not a healthcare professional. I must stress that straight away. However, I've been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, December coming, 18 years, and it runs in my family. And because I've had it for 18 years and it's hereditary, I'm in a position as from a community perspective, a patient perspective, and a Black man's perspective to share with you, the audience, my views on this medical condition. You will hear me refer to it as a medical condition because I know in some parts of the world, it is referred to as a non-communicable disease or an acute disease. But I, in my training, was told to refer to it as a medical condition, and I've stuck to that terminology, okay? But I've gained a lot of knowledge from a number of years, 7 years previously with Diabetes UK as a community champion, and now as a diabetes strategic patient partner for NHS, National Health Service, Birmingham and Solihull Clinical Conditioning Group. So I'm going to be able to share with you my lived experience of how I manage and control my diabetes. Now, I need to start with the fact that I am British born, but my parents at an early age sent me back to the land of their birth, Jamaica. So the accent is truly Jamaican, it's not British. So I grew up in a place called Whitehall, St. Thomas, with my grandaunt, granduncle, and my grandmother. And as a child growing up, I had a very inquiring or inquisitive mind. And I would ask, what's the matter with that aunt, that uncle, that person, this person? And they would all tell, they had diabetes, but that word was never used in my growing up days. They were told, and I know it happens in Asia and parts of Africa, they have a touch of sugar. That's how they explain this medical condition. Oh, granny or whoever that relative has a touch of sugar. So I've always known it as that. Then fast forward, I went to Michael Teachers College and I saw firsthand in Jamaica. I'll go through them. I've seen the strokes. I've seen blindness. I've seen heart attacks. I've seen kidney dialysis where people, because of kidney or renal problems, have to go into Kingston, the capital, to go on the dialysis machine. I've also seen lower limb amputations, and I've also seen what we call premature death, or in Jamaica, we would say, gone too soon. So that's my experience of this medical condition. I went to Michael Teachers College, and then in 1979, so 41 years ago, I came back to the land of my birth, and I've lived in Birmingham with my wife and daughter ever since, okay? However, before I move into a few years ago, I'll show you a slide which shows in the middle, that woman in the middle is my aunt, Aldith Richards. She came to do nursing from Bath St. Thomas in 1952, note the year 1952, followed by my mother, who is with those white nurses on the left. She came in 1953, and then another sister came in 1956. So there were 3 sisters from one family who left Bath St. Thomas, Jamaica, to come and do nursing. Kindly remember that the National Health Service was formed in 1948. So they came just 4 years after, 5 years after, etc. So when I see pictures showing the National Health Service as being an all-white organization and airbrushing out Black people from it, I take great exception to that, because people from Africa and the Caribbean and Asia also helped to build up the National Health Service as we know it, okay? Next slide, moving on then, is talking about diabetes and also what are the top 10 countries. The International Diabetes Federation every year produces the list in ranking order, the top 10 countries. There they are on the side, and you can see the numbers with China heading the top. Now, some people will say, well, that's relative because there are more people living in China than anywhere else in the world. However, what I want you to bear in mind, in that top 10 list, there are 5 Asian countries. China, India, Pakistan is in there at number 4, Indonesia, and Bangladesh. So that tells us something in terms of how much diabetes impacts and affects Asian communities. But also a lot of people say, because I do this training, I've been doing it now for 8.5 years. I developed diabetes 18 years ago. My wife noticed the 4 key symptoms: T for tired, T for toilet, T for thirsty, T for thinner. Tired, toilet, thirsty, thinner. So back 18 years ago, I was getting up in the night 3 or 4 times to go to the toilet. I was losing weight, that's thinner, and also feeling tired, lethargic, thinner. And on the whole, she kept saying something's wrong with me. But this, and I want men, and then the women who are listening, for they have partners or husbands, men generally don't do doctors. Men are not in touch with their emotions. Men are not in touch with their feelings. Men prefer to suffer in silence. Like the ostrich, the largest bird on the planet, at the first sign of danger, the ostrich buries its head in the sand, hoping that the problem will go away. Viewers, listeners, it doesn't. It gets worse. I will put my hand up as being one of those men. So finally, after all the nagging from my wife, and she's heard me speak often, so she knows it was nagging me, I took a sample of early morning urine in a vial to the doctors, and the doctor said, "Oh, so you're Mr. Kelly." I said, "What's that supposed to mean? We haven't seen you at this surgery in 6, 7, 8 years." And I sort of held my head down. She put the thing in, and out comes, "Mr. Kelly, you have glucose or sugar," same thing, depending on where you come from, glucose or sugar in your urine. And ladies and gentlemen, there's supposed to be no glucose or sugar in your urine. But she said, "I'm going to send off to the lab a sample of your blood for a final analysis, and it will determine." And it came back 18 years ago as an early Christmas present that I have type 2 diabetes. I wasn't so surprised because, as I said, it runs in my family. It's hereditary. However, I just mentioned one thing about China in the training that I do, because my training started 8.5 years ago when my boss said to me, "Tony, they want somebody," because I talked about my diabetes, and they said they want somebody to go to Wolverhampton, which is 9 miles from Birmingham, to talk about this condition, because they're launching a book called Sugar Sugar by a woman named Susan Haynes Elcock, diabetic diva. So I went. Diabetes UK were present at the event, and they said, "Come over to Macedonia and help us." And you know, if you're a Christian, that means, hey, you've got the gift of the gab, you can talk, you're eloquent, you're articulate, you have the condition, you're living with it. And the good thing about mine is I have never taken any medication for mine. Never yet have I taken a pill, a tablet, or anything else that's out there for my diabetes. So with that in mind, Diabetes UK trained me, and I have not looked back since. I go all over the country and abroad to do talks as I'm doing now on diabetes. Okay, then I move on to the next slide. If I can remember what I'm doing here. Yes, here I am. That's just showing you that all ethnicities can get diabetes. It's not just a white person or an Asian person or an African person or a Caribbean person. All ethnicities can also get type 2 diabetes. Now, here's the situation worldwide. In 2019, 463 million people, that's last year, had diabetes. And these are facts and figures from the International Diabetes Federation. However, it is projected that by 2045, 700 million people worldwide will have diabetes. Note, 4.2 million people last year died from diabetes. So although we're in COVID territory at the moment, and we've had about, probably 500,000 deaths, if not more, from COVID, 4.2 million people died last year from diabetes. I am not making up these facts. They're on the International Diabetes Federation website. So globally, diabetes is responsible for 1 death every 8 seconds. Somebody dies from this medical condition. Okay, so one needs to bear that in mind. I'm going to go from globally or worldwide, come closer to home, to Britain, the United Kingdom. 5 million people in this country have diabetes. And that's made up of that 5 million. There are about 1 million of those 5 million who have type 2 and have never been diagnosed, not been to the clinic, the GP, the doctor's surgery, the hospital. So they are walking around with this condition, none the wiser. And that's of serious cause for concern. So the 4 million who have been diagnosed and the other 1 million who apparently don't even know they have the condition. So it's big in Britain. And that just shows you in 1998, only about 1.4 million people had diabetes in this country. 2018, which is 2 years ago, 3.8 million. And here we are now into 2020. So it's more than doubled in 20 years and just keeps rising. So we need to be out there trying to get this message across about taking care of our health and our well-being. 90% of people with diabetes have type 2. And there's a major difference between type 1 and type 2. 8% of people have type 1. And then there's about 2% of people who have rarer types of diabetes, which doctors can talk about. I can't talk about the rarer types as such. But I'm going to focus on the 90% of people who have type 2. This is why diabetes is serious. It affects every part of the body. Notice, and I'll stress, it doesn't say every month or every 2 months or every 6 months. It says every single week. Diabetes leads to 500 premature deaths in the United Kingdom every single week. That is a fact. It's on the Diabetes UK website. Every week again, diabetes leads to 176 lower limb amputations. And the hospital where most amputations take place within the United Kingdom happens to be in Birmingham. It's called the East Birmingham Hospital, or some people refer to it as the Heartlands Hospital. 680 strokes every single week happen from this medical condition. 550 heart attacks and 2,000 cases of heart failure, okay? Diabetes is also the leading cause of preventable sight loss in people of working age in this country. So to put another way, someone in Britain is diagnosed with diabetes every 2 minutes. And people say to me, wow, you're scaring me. It's not meant to scare you. I'm just making it real, keeping it real, giving you the facts as they are, and for people to make choices about changing their lifestyle habits, behavioral changes, lifestyle changes, in order to keep those complications which I've alluded to at bay. Because when I was diagnosed 18 years ago, having seen what it did to relatives of mine in Jamaica, I made the conscious decision, I am not prepared to go there. So for instance, I was on BBC 2 live. They had the 70th anniversary of the National Health Service from the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, and they had me on the program live. And the first question the interviewer asked me, she said, so Mr. Kelly, you're a diabetes sufferer. I just put myself up erect in my chair and I said, excuse me, I am not a diabetes sufferer. I know there's some people out there who are suffering from this medical condition. I am living with diabetes. I am managing and controlling my diabetes. Diabetes is not managing or controlling me. I hope you notice the difference between the two. So she quickly apologized and said, oh, no, you're not a sufferer. Because as I said at the very beginning, I take no medication at all. And I'm going to come on to the things that I do to keep the complications at bay, okay? Next slide, which I'll just skip through, is, no, this one I'll talk about. Diabetes is expensive. And I think I've skipped one. So let me go back to it. Or have I? No, I haven't skipped one, sorry. Diabetes is expensive. Now, some of you might have won the lottery and won 10 million pounds. Kindly note that figure. It does not say 10 million pounds. It says 10 billion pounds is spent by the National Health Service on diabetes in Britain, which amounts to 1 million pounds an hour, or a tenth of the entire National Health Service budget is spent on this one condition. And you can think of some developing countries who don't have that sort of money, 10 billion pounds, as their gross domestic product. That's a lot of money to spend on one condition. And that's a fact. That's what's happening here within the National Health Service in Britain. At this point, I'm going to catch my breath. And for 2 minutes, you are going to listen to a video. If I can find where it starts, here we go.
There are two main types of diabetes, type 1 and type 2. They're different conditions, but they're both serious. There are some other rarer types of diabetes too. What all types of diabetes have in common is that they cause people to have too much glucose in their blood. But we all need some glucose. It's what gives us our energy. We get glucose when our bodies break down the carbohydrates that we eat or drink, and that glucose is released into our blood. We also need a hormone called insulin. It's made by our pancreas, and it's insulin that allows the glucose in our blood to enter our cells and fuel our bodies. If you don't have diabetes, your pancreas senses when glucose has entered your bloodstream and releases the right amount of insulin so the glucose can get into your cells. But if you have diabetes, this system doesn't work. When you've got type 1 diabetes, you can't make any insulin at all. If you've got type 2 diabetes, it's a bit different. The insulin you make either can't work effectively or you can't produce enough of it. In both types of diabetes, because glucose can't get into your cells, it begins to build up in your blood. And too much glucose in your blood causes a lot of different problems. To begin with, it leads to diabetes symptoms like having to wee a lot, being incredibly thirsty and feeling very tired. You may also lose weight, get infections like thrush, or suffer from slow healing wounds. Over a long period of time, high glucose levels in your blood can seriously damage your heart, your eyes, your feet, and your kidneys. These are known as the complications of diabetes. But with the right treatment and care, people can live a healthy life. And there's much less risk that someone will experience these complications. If you've got diabetes, you can find lots of information and support about living with it using our website and helpline. As well as campaigning for everyone with diabetes to get the right care, Diabetes UK fund research into all types of diabetes so we can develop new treatments and one day find a cure. You can find out more about type 1 and type 2 diabetes and how they're treated in our next videos.
Thanks for listening to that. I need to point out, he did say, one day find a cure. So all those people who like to send off for potions and this, that, and the other from false, fake, phony websites, please stop. There is no known cure to this day for this condition, diabetes. Some people have managed to go into remission. Some people call it reverse, or some people call it remission. So they've managed to keep it under control. If they go back to the bad eating habits and doing the wrong things again, the diabetes will return. So that's to start with. The person who did the voiceover in that is Philip Schofield. He does an early morning program on television over here. He has type 1 diabetes. Another person who has type 1 diabetes is Halle Berry, the well-known Black American actress. And another person closer to home is the last Prime Minister of Britain, woman Prime Minister, Mrs. Theresa May. Those people with type 1 diabetes, this is the difference, their pancreas, as Philip Schofield said in there, packs in all together. The pancreas is a 6-inch gland situated just behind the stomach here. And it just for no unknown reason, so it's nothing to do with your weight, nothing to do with your ethnicity, your gender, anything at all. That's type 1. The pancreas packs in, so it is making no insulin. Ladies and gentlemen, viewers, without insulin, you will die. You have to have insulin regulating to keep you alive. So we have to give credit to Sir Frederick Banting. That's the name of the scientist in his lab back in Canada. I was there last year, 1921, before a lot of us was born. He and his French student named Charles Best. I don't know how a French student can be named Charles Best, but that was his name. They noticed a meager dog outside. This is a true story. In Jamaica, we would say maga dog. And they, in their lab, developed this synthetic man-made substance, injected it into the dog in 1921. That was when insulin was discovered. Of course, it's been made much better now, and it's much more effective. So all people with type 1 have to either inject in the stomach area with an injection pen insulin 3 times per day. to keep them alive. Some prefer to have an insulin pump strapped to their body, which drips constantly to keep them alive. That's type 1. The pancreas doesn't work. So you can live without an eye, you can live without an ear, you can live without your teeth or your foot. You cannot survive without insulin. With type 2, which is slightly different, and remember 90% of people have type 2, either the pancreas is producing insulin, but it's not working altogether properly, or not producing enough to do what it should do to regulate the blood glucose that's going around your body. That's type 2. Now that type, as Philip Schofield rightly said, it is sometimes hereditary, runs in the family. Sometimes it's a case of being overweight, being obese, having on too much weight, etc. And sometimes people who are on average or skinny or meager, as would say, can also develop type 2 diabetes, where the pancreas is not doing its job properly. So moving swiftly on, and that, by the way, that Diabetes UK, what it is permanently on the Diabetes UK website. Go and visit it and show your friends, relatives, colleagues, partners, etc. what is diabetes. It's always there, as are lots of recipes and so on. That's Diabetes UK website, okay? And then we move on swiftly to the factors. You heard me mention the tired toilet thirsty thinner. Those are mentioned there. But the age, the older you get, then that's a factor. Family history is a factor. Ethnicity, some people are the African Caribbean nation, which I'll talk about. Your body mass index and your weight can be a factor. And here comes the waist circumference. And you might be wondering, what am I doing with a tape measure? Some of you will remember the Miss World competition where the perfect figure was 36, 24, 36, an hourglass figure. Now, you show me a woman in this day and age, any part of the world, with a 24-inch waist, and I'd give you £1,000. Trust me, I would, because they don't exist anymore. Diabetes says...
I have it, Tony.
Diabetes UK and all the experts say a woman's waist, and this is all women, should aim for a waist size of 31.5 inches. Now, some people right away get into a state of shock. Some women are much bigger in brawn, in size, etc. That's the ideal weight, 31.5 inches. And remember, folk, it's not from your trousers, it's from your belly button or navel string. But what I'm saying to you, let's say your waist size is 40. All I'm asking you to do is try and lose some of that fat around here and bring it down from 40 to a 36 so that the pancreas can do its job better, okay? Asian men are allowed, and these are all on the website, Asian men are allowed an ideal waist size to keep things under control and in check, 35 inches. 35 inches is what Asian men should aim for. Yes, you might find an Asian man with a belly which is 42. All we're asking him to do, you're not going to get down to 35, but you're asking him to come down from 42 down to probably, if he can bring it down to 38. That's him getting rid of some of this puppy fat. All white men and African Caribbean men, we are allowed an additional 2 inches, which is 37. So we need to be mindful of those. So we talk about heart attacks and strokes and high blood pressure. These are all issues that people with diabetes tend to have and tend to get. Also, they need to be mindful of their cholesterol levels, keeping their cholesterol levels down. Then there is one of the 2% that I need to talk about, just very briefly, gestational diabetes. Some women during pregnancy have this condition. It's not type 1 diabetes. It's not type 2 diabetes. It is actually called gestational diabetes because it happens only during the pregnancy. Once they've had the baby or babies, it disappears. But that don't mean that that's okay for them for the future, because the chances are they are at risk in later life of developing diabetes type 2, and the baby or babies they've had are also at risk in later life of developing type 2 diabetes. So gestational diabetes is another issue there. Then we go on to impaired glucose regulation. Now, as you can imagine, I've been doing this for 8.5 years. So I go to all these conferences all over the place. And I hear, not all doctors, but some doctors like to talk about impaired glucose regulation. And I have to stand up and say, excuse me, speak the language of the people. Keep it simple, cut out the clinical terms and the acronyms and the jargon. Impaired glucose regulation means nothing to the average layperson out there. Say to a person, you are pre-diabetic, pre meaning before, border, or you're on the border. Hey, Johnny, Mary, Sue, you're pre-diabetic or you're borderline. That should resonate with people more. You're on the cusp of it. If you don't do something about your health and your eating habits and your physical activity, you might end up developing type 2 diabetes. And so many people in my training said to me, Tony, do you know I was told I was pre-diabetic? And I say, and what have you done about it? And they look me sheepishly in the eye and say, oh, I haven't done anything. If I be honest with you, I feel like hitting them. Because if you get told you're pre-diabetic or borderline, say thank God for Jah, Jehovah, whoever you worship, Jesus, and make the lifestyle changes to not end up getting the complications and getting type 2 diabetes. It's pure and simple. Either you want to get it or you don't want to get it. People, ethnicity now, people from African, Caribbean, and South Asian backgrounds are 2 to 4 times more likely to develop type 2 diabetes. And they develop it at age 25. That's when African, Caribbean, and South Asian people, which is why so many of them, you notice, so many countries, Indonesia and Pakistan and China are all in the top 10. It is to do, people said to me, and why is that so? It's to do with a combination of their genetics, their gene structure, their DNA is another word for genetics, or their metabolism, and also to do with environmental factors in terms of where they live and the type of food they eat, etc. But that's one of the issues which African, Caribbean, and Asian people need to be mindful of from age 25. Then, of course, within young children, there's something called childhood obesity, where children are eating all the wrong types of food and too much of it. And people as young as in the teens, 12, 13, 14, are now beginning to show and develop diabetes. We need to, as parents and as adults, we need to be mindful of what we're giving our children to eat, because diabetes is now impacting and affecting people younger than age 25. That's white and black, because of the fact that they're eating not the right types of foods, okay? The body mass index, that can tell you whether you're overweight or you're of an ideal weight or you're underweight or so on. That table is there. I won't dwell too much on it, but I'm going to go to the next one, which is one I mentioned earlier, your waist circumference. It can tell you how much fat you have stored around your stomach. And as I said, it's not your trouser size, it's your belly button or your navel string. And I'm asking you people, those who have too much, you've got to try and lose some of that weight, tone up. And we're going to come on to what you can do to tone up in a moment, okay? So going to the toilet, tired, toilet, thirsty, thinner. Those are the 4 main symptoms. Another one, slow healing of cuts and wounds. So all people in some of these countries that like to walk around, I used to like to walk around barefoot, not wearing anything. If you have diabetes and the bottoms of your soles tend to have, you're lacking in sensitivity, you're not feeling things. So I have to go down once a year and have my feet checked. And she says, Tony, Mr. Kelly, look away. And then I look away and she touched with something at the bottom all around my feet to make sure the sensation is there. With some people with diabetes, they can get their foot cut on a glass or on a thorn or a marker or something or a rusty nail, and they don't have any sensation. And I'll give you a true story. One chap who I knew, I didn't see him for a long while, and then his brother said to me, Tony, go and visit him in Dudley Road Hospital. And I said, what for? He said, just go and visit him. And I went. The true story, this man, the gym I used to go to, he used to do weights, and he used to show me how to do the weights. A glass fell in his kitchen, and this is a true story, and the glass went into his big toe. And typical of most men, he just stayed there hoping and giving it Dettol and all the antiseptic treatment. And he said it was getting worse. And it was worse and worse, and the pus and the smell. And a friend visited him and said, I don't like how you look, you know. You need to go to the doctor. And he lived with his 15-year-old son. So he plucked up courage, went to the doctor. The doctor took one look at his big toe and said, get yourself down to Dudley Road Hospital, because the stench alone, let alone the pus that's coming out of it. And he went. They chopped off his big toe because gangrene or septicemia had set in. It didn't end there, folk. They ended up chopping off his 4 toes because the gangrene or the septicemia had spread to those 4 toes. If caught earlier, that wouldn't have happened. It also then spread right up to here. And when he pulled off the sheet and I saw it, and that was the reality of this man. And what, you know what set in? He then went home, because he used to do weights and was muscle, and he got into a state of depression. So that's another knock-on effect. This man became so depressed, he didn't want to leave his home. They fitted him with a prosthetic limb, but he just felt, no, he's still around and I still keep in touch with him. But that's the slow healing of cuts and wounds. So don't, even if you're on the beach, don't walk around on the beach barefoot. Wear slippers, wear sandals, wherever you are. Try and keep something on your feet. And also brush off the back. You know all that scale and skin that likes to go at the back of the feet? You need to make sure you scrub your feet and scrub off all that scale and that dead skin and so on, and keep your feet nice and moist all the time. Extreme tiredness is another issue, as we said. Blurred vision. I was in Dominica 2 years ago. That's in the Caribbean. They heard of me, the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, and said, Tony, we want you to come to Dominica because there's so many people there who have diabetes. And I want you to listen to this very carefully. People in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, not seeing very well. It's called blurred vision. And then they start to think, oh, it's because I'm getting old. Trust me, it's not age. It's the diabetes going in the back of the eye, in the blood vessels. It's called diabetic eye screening, which you should have regularly once a year to make sure. I have it done. They put the drops in, and then they say, and they take the cameras and they take the photographs and they send it off, and they said, right, you're good to go. It's a big word, diabetic retinopathy screening. But to put it simple, it's diabetes eye screening, E-Y-E, which has to happen to determine, because if caught early, you can correct it. And that's why a lot of people in Dominica were going blind, but they now have some of the machinery there, and they have a top consultant there as well, Hazel Shillington, and they help to get the people to understand you need to take care of your eyes. And that's so important. The world's too much of a beautiful place for you to all to go blind. So I urge you, at the first sign of you notice your eyes becoming blurred, go and get it checked out. If in doubt, check it out. And of course, the weight loss. And then most importantly, for type 2 diabetes, sometimes there are no symptoms at all. No tired, no toilet, no thirsty, no thinner, no blurred vision. And by the time you find out, the horse has bolted and gone, and all your organs start to pack in. So this is why I say to people, go and get yourself checked regularly. In Britain, we have something called the MOT test done on your car. Your car is a piece of junk or is a piece of metal. Your body is far more important to you than that piece of junk or piece of metal. So don't do like me for 8 years, never even went to see a doctor. Go once a year to get your medical checkup, especially in countries where it's free. You must go and get your checkups done. And men in particular, I urge you to stop this macho manly thing. And oh, no, I'm going to suffer in silence like the ostrich. I'm not having it. So there's the eye disease, the heart disease, the kidney disease, the nerve disease that people can get, if all related to diabetes, if you don't take care of yourself. And I have to mention this because there's an organization, this is within Birmingham NHS, NHS Birmingham and Solihull CCG, Clinical Commissioning Group. Diabetes UK set up this because since lockdown, a lot of people can't go and get their bloods done at the doctor. So you can go to this website. It's the same, the Diabetes UK website. You put in your height, you put in your weight, you put in your measurement, you put in your age, you put in your gender. It can actually work out on this Know Your Risk tool, whether you are no risk, low risk, medium risk, or high risk of getting type 2 diabetes. And therefore, when you get that result, you can self-refer to the National Health Service Healthier You program. It's a national diabetes prevention program, which was rolled out about 3-4 years ago in this country, Britain. So anybody who is in the medium to high risk category, pre-diabetes or borderline, can go on this. So don't wait to have to go. Yes, you can go to your GP as well and get the blood done there, but you can also do it self-refer by going to this Know Your Risk tool and using it. And then, for instance, the area I live in, the organization that does this program is called WW. You go to a series of events, just like what I'm doing now, but they're more long-term. Mine is just for an hour or so, hour and 15 minutes, but these are more long-term, and they take you through every stage to put you back on the road to recovery so you don't end up getting type 2 diabetes. So reduce your risk, eat a healthy, balanced diet, be more active, and this is when I start doing active. Physical activity. I'm gonna share with you the physical activity that I do. Because as I said, you heard me say 18 years coming and I've never taken medication at all. This is what I do. The gyms have closed and apparently they're gonna open up again. I don't know how soon, but every week I go to a Pilates class. I've done that for years. Every week I go to a yoga class. I've done that for years. Every week I go to a badminton class. I've done that for years. I grew up in Jamaica, surrounded by the Caribbean Sea. Unfortunately, I can't swim. I'm one of those persons who can't swim. But I go into the pool and the water comes up to my belly button and the instructor is there and you're going against, it's called aquarobics. You're going against the force of the water. That is one of the best forms of physical activity to keep mind, body, to keep you moving. So Pilates, badminton, aquarobics, and yoga. And wait for this. Every week I go to a Zumba class. I am sometimes, as we would say in Jamaica, the one dege man in a Zumba class with 27 or 28 women. And my wife said, I know why you go to these classes. And I said, no. But I say to them in the class, I am the rose amongst you thorns. And they laugh at me. But I go there for a purpose. So that's why even when we after lockdown here in Britain, my GP said to me, my doctor said to me, gosh, you haven't put on any weight at all. 4 pounds. She said people came here putting on 2 stone, 3 stone, 5 stone for comfort eating. I said, I found hills and valleys to walk up and down. Form a walking club with your friends. And when I was growing up in Jamaica, you'd run down hills and valleys and dales and so on. And I still do that now. None of us were born in motor cars. I say that in my training. I say, hands up those who were born in a motor car. And nobody puts their hands up. When I was growing up in Jamaica, run down hills and valleys and dales. Some people say, oh, I think I'm having a voice come back at me. But some people say, oh, I was born on the way in the ambulance to the hospital. I say, well, okay, I'll forgive you. Form a walking club with friends. If you try and do it on your own, if you're not as motivated as I am, you will after 2 weeks give up. So form a walking club. When you go into the supermarket, stop using the travelator, the elevator, the lift, or the escalator. Your feet were made for walking. Use your feet to get from point A to point B. This idea of everybody going in the car, please park the car somewhere and walk. The more walking, you need to do things like cleaning up the guttering, cleaning up the leaves, cleaning up the snow, climbing the stairs. When I go into the city center and they say, what floor you want? And they say, it's going up to the 15th floor. I say, yes, I'll come up to the 15th floor. And I said, but I'm not using the lift. They look at me and say, well, are you Superman? I said, no, I'm not Superman. I use my feet and climb those stairs and get up there and reach up there because the lift's up at the 2nd, the 5th, the 7th, the 9th, the 12th. I could have had a cup of tea or coffee by the time they get out of the lift on the 15th floor. The same with the travelator and the elevator and the escalator. Please, when you go to the supermarket, park your car way down yonder and walk, okay? Another thing I'm gonna do for you is this one, the remote control on the television. You know what you do with it? hide it, take out the dead batteries, or put dead batteries in it. Instead of beep, 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 height of laziness. When I came back to Britain 1979, there wasn't remote control. Every time you wanted to change the channel, you'd get up off your proverbial, your backside, and you'd go over to the television and you'd change the channel 1, 2, or the volume up and down or turn it up. So why this laziness? Even now, Siri, there's one called Siri and one called Alexa. Alexa, turn on the television. Alexa, turn off the radio. Alexa, switch on the lights. Height of laziness. Get up. We're talking about movement. You need to keep on moving. Another thing you need to do is this. You get cans of beans. Or if you don't have beans, you can get plastic bottles. You start with this size and you move up. These are your dumbbells. And all you're going to be doing is this. You're building up these muscles, and those muscles are helping to regulate the blood glucose that's going around the system. So you build, and then when you're tired of it doing it like this, you take it up to that level and up there. You do it to music or on its own. Then you also, because you don't want to up here to get all looking lovely and toned, you do the feet. Feet up and down, feet up and down. With elderly people, I got to a lot of elderly people's homes and they say, but Mr. Kelly, you're expecting us to do this physical activity? Because I never use the word exercise. Exercise conjures up image you wanting people to go to the gym. I say physical activity. What I do, I say, okay, let's gradually stand up. And it would take some of them even 2 minutes to stand up. And then they sit down and say, okay, that's fine. And then you encourage them half an hour later to do the same. And then, so when I go back 6 months' time to do the follow-up course, they say, Mr. Kelly, you know, I can stand up 15 of these. No, these are elderly people who couldn't do it in the first place, you know. We sit on our sedentary couch potato lifestyle for too long. No. We have to keep moving. Find line dancing to do. Find things to do. Walk around the block. Those are the sorts of things that have to be done. Keep mind, body, and soul ticking over. It's so important. Swimming, jogging. You find, and when you go to the doctors as well, some doctors now have something called social prescribing. So instead of giving you medication, because I'm so opposed to medication if it can be helped, doctors have tried to say, Tony, you really probably could take metformin. It will prolong your life. And I will say to whoever says that to me, when did you become God to know how long I'm going to live? But I don't want to go down the medical route in the sense of some people have to take medication. That's a must. And if you're on medication, you have to take it. But I don't want doctors to just prescribe medication just for the sake of medication. They need to try, enable and empower the patient to make the lifestyle changes. And that's exactly the slide I'm going to come on to, whereby I'll start with pernicious anemia. 2 years ago, I felt very, very poorly. In a sense of tired. That was my tiredness. So I thought, oh, let me go down to the doctors. The doctor took a sample of blood, sent it off, and it came back, and they kept ringing me. Mr. Kelly, you have to come down to the surgery. You have to come down to the surgery. I said, what for? Because you have pernicious anemia. Never heard the words before. It means lacking in B12. And they kept ringing me. You will go into a diabetic coma if you don't have this thing we have to give for you to increase your B12. I went, and the doctor said, for the rest of your life, this is a true story, because some of you might even have this, every 3 months, you have to come and have a B12 injection. I just looked at the doctor and said, that ain't gonna happen. That will not happen. I have doctors and nurses in my family, and I came and did my research, and it clearly said, if you have fortified cereals, such as Weetabix, such as oat, such as bran flakes, such as shredded wheat. If you also have more shelled fish, so you go for prawns and mollusks and crab. And if you also have, which I have here, I went and got it, Floridix. You get this from any well-known drugstore or supermarket. If you have this Floridix, which provides you with ions and multivitamins and so on, that will help. My wife tends to have Metatone tonic, which is different from this, but has the same principle. So I have the Floridix. Then I went back 3 months' time to see my GP, and the GP said, but your thing is in the right range now, your B12. And I just laughed at him and said, and why were you wanting me to have B12 injections for the rest of my life? That's a classic example of me, a personal experience of mine, where I have saved the NHS money. And that is something I would say. I have something called the sickle cell trait. A lot of Black people have the sickle cell trait, not the full-blown sickle cell anemia. If my wife had the sickle cell trait, then our daughter would have been born with the sickle cell anemia. So I have the trait. So unlike people who, when they go to their GP for blood tests, they do the HbA1c, blood glucose, I can't do that, which tells you, and you can't hide, it tells you what you've eaten for and drank for the last 3 months. I have a fructosamine test, which can only tell me, because I have the sickle cell trait, it can only tell me what I've eaten for the last 2 weeks. So for the first few years of going down, they used to send off HbA1c on the label. And then they would have to call me back because I was none the wiser. Then eventually I asked my doctor, why do I have to keep coming back for this test? She said, oh, they don't realize you have the fructosamine test. So now when I go yearly for my diabetes checkup, I tell them, and the nurses will say, oh, we've never heard of this test before. What is that? I said, put that on the label. And the next minute they say, well, are you a doctor? I said, no. But nobody knows your body better than you do, okay? The last one on there is kidney stones. Kidney stones is 10 years ago, I used to love full fat cream cow's milk. The more cream on it, the top, the better. But it causes you to get crystal stones, to get kidney stones, beg your pardon, kidney stones, the crystallization of the stones in your body. And the most almighty pain. So I had to go into the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, first and last time in the hospital. And the doctor said to me, don't drink milk. And my mother, who since has passed away, said to me, you're a grown man. Milk is, cow's milk that is for babies and children growing up, for formation of teeth and bones. Go for rice milk, almond milk, oats milk, and even goat's milk. And I love goat's milk because goat just eat grass. Goat don't have anything else like the cows, they give him all these other things. And that's what I have. And that's why I keep kidney stones at bay after that one-on-one occasion. Okay? Now, so eating a healthy, balanced diet, being more active, more movement, taking medications if you're on any, control your blood glucose levels, because that's what, and you need to remember, every single carbohydrate you eat, chapati, brown bread, rice, yam, dumplings, all the carbohydrates or starchy food that you eat break down into your body into glucose or sugar. You must remember that. So when you say, oh, I'm going to cut down on sweets and cakes and ice cream and so on, that to a point is okay. But you need to remember that all carbohydrates you eat break down into your system into glucose or sugar. So you need to be careful of your carbohydrate consumption, how much you're eating. And I've left there some websites that one can look at. These are, don't go to the phony, fake and false websites that are going to send you this, send you that. Go to Diabetes UK, go to the International Diabetes Federation website, diabetes.co.uk is another one. Those are the ones I would be saying you should go to if you want good, sound, sensible, accurate, factual advice about how to look after yourself healthily, how to physical activity, types of diet, things, food, and so on. And at that point, I think I've come to, whoops, hang on. Something went wrong there. Whoops. I come to this with any questions. Where am I in terms of the other two now, Dr. Ahansi?
You are absolutely on. You can take a break for 1 or 2 minutes, and we'll put on the next slide for you, Tony.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You have the whole evening.
All right, if you say so. So I'm bringing that one down, and I'm gonna bring up now the diabetes quiz. That's a nice one to go with. Hang on. Yes, and I think from beginning slideshow.
You have to stop share.
Oh, I have to stop sharing first.
Yes, then you can share the other one.
Oh, all right. Okay. So,
okay. But there's no panic. People need to take a little break.
Break. Yes, let them take a break while I sort myself out with Angela.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Angela?
You need to stop share.
Yeah, yes, but how do I oh yes, sorry, yes, stop share, yes. So I'm out
When
of it now.
put the next open your next slide on your computer.
Down here I have share screen and participants and all of that.
Is the other slides you want? It's open already on your computer.
Yes,
Yeah.
they're open.
Okay.
Yeah,
Click on share screen.
share screen. And then bring up
Share computer sound if you have any computer sound.
I've got quiz here. Let me do the quiz and then I'll end with call. So I'm bringing up yes, and from beginning.
Yeah, we can see your screen now.
Right, okay. So I'm going to go to food and diabetes quiz. Because we said we're taking a break for 2 minutes, have people left or are they still there? We can go on.
For you, they're all there, Tony.
Okay, they're all there. Right. Here is, I do this all the time. These are some of the slides we've had from Diabetes UK. The people with diabetes need to follow a special diet. Now I hear some people will put their hands up when I ask that when I'm in an interactive session, and I will say to them, no. When I was growing up in Jamaica, they used to put on a special pot for my aunt, different from the family pot, because she had diabetes. She was a teacher. And that was back in the 60s. We now know better. We all must eat a healthy, well-balanced diet. There's no need for no special diet for anybody, okay? People with diabetes need to stop eating rice. And when I say hands up, you see lots of hands going up. And I said to them, excuse me, are you expecting the 2 billion people who live in China, where the staple product of China is rice, that they've got to stop eating rice? No. But this is the score with rice. The portion of rice you eat on your dinner plate must be able to fit in the palm of your hand. So the days when I come from Jamaica and like 6, 7, 8, I love rice and peas, you know, really love rice and peas. But the 6, 7, 8, 9 tablespoons of rice is no more. What must fit into the palm of your hand? And then I say to people when they have too much on the plate, I say, your eye is too big for your belly. You're too greedy. You need to cut down on that because that's way too much. And also you must only go for 3 rices. Brown rice, wild rice, and I spell it out, W-I-L-D, because some people think I say white. Brown rice, wild rice, and basmati rice. Now, basmati rice has 2 different colors. As long as it says basmati on it, those are the 3 rices you should be aiming for. And also, we move on to fruits. People have a problem with fruits. Fruits are good for you. Fruits are full of fiber, full of all sorts of things. But a lot of the fruits, it's fructose or natural sugar. So you need to be mindful of the amount of sugar you're taking in terms of the fruit. So go for, yes, if you're going for a banana, half a banana. Yes, a mango, probably just have 1 mango, but not 7, 8, 9, 10 mangoes, because that is fruit, more sugar, you're putting into your system, natural sugar. So you need to be mindful. And I also have to tell you something about what we call smoothies. It's a no-no. Please, I'm asking you, stop having smoothies. The ones in the supermarket are packed with sugar. The ones you make at home in your blender or what have you are also not good for you. And I'll explain to you why they're not good for you. Your body is made with your mouth being, you're supposed to chew the apples, the satsumas, the oranges, the naseberries, the kiwis, and the same you're supposed to chew the kale, the spinach, the callaloo, the bolus. It rolls it up into a ball. The saliva is doing its job. Normal chewing, then it goes down here, and the gases and the amino acids and all the so on within the stomach area, they are meant to do their job in that way. If you do a smoothie and it's like this is a smoothie in here, and it goes out there. It has bypassed the whole of the alimentary canal, the stomach, and so on, and all those gases in that region, which are meant to do their job. So please avoid smoothies like the plague. And the fruits I would ask you to go for are blackberries, blueberries, strawberries, and raspberries. That's in England I'm talking about. I don't know wherever you are, what they might be. but try to go for fruits that have a sort of a sweet and a sour taste, so they're not altogether sweet. This one here is a must. Vegetables. The more vegetables you can eat on your dinner plate, the better. Whether it be red onion, red cabbage, red tomato, red pepper, kale, spinach, cantaloupe, broccoli, peas, you name it, Brussels sprouts. All those vegetables are very good for you. And I also say at this point, when I mention all these reds, avoid red meat like the plague. Red meat is the main cause of prostate cancer, which is in men, and colon cancer in everybody. You must cut down on your consumption, the amount of red meat that you're eating, okay? Dal and beans. This is what a lot of Asian people like to have, dal and beans. Yes, that rice, I don't know whether that's basmati rice. It is white in color, but you need to go for basmati rice. Beans are good for you because it's a good source of fiber, very good source of fiber, except one bean, which I have in front of me here, baked beans. That is packed with salt and sugar. Go to the supermarkets where they have it, less sugar, less salt. Those are the much better baked beans for you, okay? But all beans, cob, runner beans, gunga peas, red kidney beans, black-eyed peas, all those are very good for you in whatever shape. Then we go to this one, whereby we tend to have a lot of oils in Asian communities, ghee, coconut oil, palm oil, butter, all those sorts of oils. No. Cut down on your oils. Fry-ups should be a rarity. Boil, bake, steam, grill, and roast. I'll repeat, boil, bake, steam, grill, and roast. You should, especially if you're doing fried cake or Johnny cake, you should start it off in a little oil, then transfer it to the oven. And then when we go to Jamaica, in the last how many years we've been going to Jamaica, they have this thing called festival. If I had my way, I would ban festival, because festival is a continuation of Johnny cake or fried cake, and they add sugar to it. What the dickens you put in sugar in the Johnny cake or the fried dumpling? That's already a nice thing. So why are you adding sugar to it? It's a no-no as far as we're concerned. Crisp is once a year, okay? Condensed milk, no. Jam and all that sugar and so on, not good for you. It less is more, is what I'm saying here, clearly. All these chocolates and jam donuts and so on, those are doing your body no good. All of us, I have a sweet tooth, I have to admit, but probably 2 or 3 times a year is my limit on those. And I'm saying the same to you. Don't buy any diabetic food, diabetic jam, diabetic chocolate. It's just the manufacturers preying, P-R-E-Y, on the conscience of people. Oh, in the supermarket, they have diabetic chocolate or diabetic jam, I'm going to buy it. No, go and see the manager and tell the manager that they must take them off the shelves. That you mustn't buy normal jam. No, and the chocolate you must buy is the dark chocolate, which is 70 to 75% cocoa in the chocolate. That's the one you need to buy, dark chocolate. It's bitter in taste. The taste is very bitter, but it becomes an acquired taste. And after a while, unlike this other chocolate, which I showed you earlier, where you eat 4, 5, 6 bars of it, the dark chocolate, you probably just take off 2 bits and you don't visit it again till 3 days' time. That's better for you, trust me. Cut down on salt. Every human being under the sun needs to cut down on salt. The processed food we eat has in too much salt. You shouldn't be eating the processed food if you can. The other food, when you go to the restaurants or bars and they serve you your meal, it's deliberately salted so that you want to then have something to drink. So they come around, can we have a drink? What do you want, something to drink? And me and my wife and daughter will just say, oh, we'll have a jug of water. And then mouth long like from here to America and back, because they are wanting the drinks bill to come up more than the food bill. Be wise to that and cut down on the salt. Salt causes high blood pressure, stroke, hypertension. And that salt there, you see that's table salt, packed with preservatives and additives. And also you should not go for sea salt. The ocean is polluted. Go for the salt from the Himalayas. It's pink in color and it is in most supermarkets. That's the salt you should use. And as a matter of fact, you should be not using too much salt. You need to go for sage, garlic, basil, thyme, onion, dill. These are normal herbs that you use to flavor your meat dishes. Much better than salt any day. People, the Asian community like to use Corella. It's a bitter melon or bitter gourd, and they put it in their meat dishes. And they say, well, oh, that's the best thing for diabetes and so on. And I say to those who are on medication, well, if it was the best thing for diabetes and you've been having it all this while, why have you ended up getting diabetes? So you need to be mindful. And I'm told too that just like how the grapefruit, you know, some people have grapefruit and grapefruit juice, but if they're on blood thinning tablets, they're not supposed to have it. I am understanding that Corella has that effect with some Asian people. So they need to make sure they check with their dietitian and their GP about, are they still taking the Corella within their meat dishes while they're on medication, because it can counteract it. Everybody should try and have 3 meals a day. I have seen a lot of people tell me, oh, no. I skip breakfast and I don't eat till 1. You have slept 6, 7, 8 hours the night before. You need to have something nutritional in your body to survive you up until lunchtime. So it is called breaking the fast. You remove the of the break, you move the ing, break and fast come together, give you breakfast. Some people say they have 5 meals a day instead of 3, but that's a matter for them. Smaller portions, of course, but you must eat when you wake up. Your body is crying out for something. Oily fish. The more oily fish you can eat, the better. And let me tell you something straight away. Those of us who live in Britain, I am not talking fish and chips here. I am talking sprat, herring, tuna, you know, all the fish that are out there in the supermarkets, etc., and at the fishmongers and so on. And I'm certainly talking sardine, pilchards, herring. Those are the things, because all those oily fish are good for Alzheimer's and dementia. Very, very good. That's a known fact. And also good for, in terms of rheumatoid arthritis. So the more oily fish you can have in your diet, the better. I am reluctant to want to recommend you have salmon, because the salmon that's manufactured here in Britain, it's pink. They actually put pink pellets in where they're farming the salmon, so that the salmon on the supermarket shelf is as pink as ever, and that causes cancer. So if you're going to have salmon, go for red salmon from the wilds of Alaska. That's the salmon I will tell you need to go for. And that's the one that we look out for, the wild Alaskan salmon from Alaska. It's red in color. Alcohol. Yes, I know Muslims don't drink, so this doesn't apply to them. But if you like your alcohol is consuming of calories. It's still, you're drinking calories. So you need to have nothing on Sunday. That's an alcohol-free day. Monday, Tuesday, have a liquor. Wednesday, and then break it up throughout the week. So you're allowed 21 units for men and 14 units for women. You need to be mindful of your alcohol consumption. And the same I'm talking about alcohol, I also need to mention fizzy drinks. All these youngsters who love this whole heap of pop and fizzy drinks and so, no, it's a no. Please, I'm asking you, you're supposed to have water, and more water. You should be aiming to drink up to 2 liters of water per day. I know it's difficult, I know it's hard. I'm up to 2 liters. But remember, there's also water in the satsumas, in the oranges, in the grapes, in the strawberries. So count that in it, and you might have tea as well. So you can count that in there as well. But because the more water you drink, it's for a purpose. The kidneys are there to be flushed out. All the toxins and poisons that are in the system. That's it. That's why the kidneys are inside of us. So all the toxins, the poisons that are in your body have to be flushed out. It's the water that does it. And I'm asking you, and then you will go to the loo more often. But what I ask you to do, if you're going to bed at 10, you can't be expected to be drinking water at 9:30, because you're bound to get up, because you're lying prostrate on the wherever you're sleeping. And therefore your kidneys are having a harder time. If you're standing up, then it's not so bad. But once you go to bed, so have a cutoff point of at least 2 hours, your last drink, so that you don't have to be getting up 2 or 3 times during the night because you've drank too much and have to go to the loo. Now, I don't even need to talk about that one because everybody should stop smoking. Everybody should stop smoking. I don't care what anybody wants to say, even if it's weed, marijuana, ganja, or what have you, we should not be smoking. Full stop, period. I'm not going to say anything more about that. And then I'm going to stop share and end with the last slide because I know there need to be some questions. So come back up again, share screen. And this is the last set of slides because I'm probably becoming boring now. Cultural myths, which come up a lot. Here we go.
Tony, if I could just say to you, it has been brilliant. And everybody is benefiting from it. We're getting a lot of responses from Australia, from America, from Africa.
Oh, that's nice to know.
From
Share some of them with me afterwards. Afterwards, share some of them with me. I don't want my head to go too big that it can't go through the door.
Oh, no. Tony, carry on. Believe me.
So, this is the last set of slides, Dr. Ahunsi.
No. Believe me, as many slides as you have, this is a big topic.
Right,
You are doing a fantastic job. If I could just mention why Tony is having a short break, Tony is not being paid for this.
Oh, no, not at all.
Right? But what we're saying, anybody with any medical condition of this, for any special consultation, confirmed from MediLives UK. We will put this information on our Facebook, on the WhatsApp group, and also at the end of this, if you like 1 minute, 10 minutes consultation with all over the world, we are here. That's what MediLife does, able to bring you well-being and health to you in the comfort of your mobile phone, not even at home. Wherever you are, 724-365, you have access to medical and well-being dispensation. Stay tuned. Tony?
Thank you. I'm ready now. And before I start these cultural myths and misconceptions, I'm going to start off with a misconception. Because I've been doing this for 8.5 years, Dr. Ahunsi. I go to a lot of events and I see it. If you just Google it, hard to reach, hard to reach, hard to reach. And I hear it being said out there so often and have heard it over the last 8.5 years I've been doing this. And then I will ask, who is hard to reach? The first times I used to hear it, I used to keep quiet. And then people would say, oh, it's the Africans and the Caribbeans and the Asians. They're hard to reach. Or some would say they're difficult to reach. Or some would say they're seldom heard. And I'm afraid I have to open my mouth and say, excuse me, it is insensitive. It's actually insulting and can be deemed to be racist, calling communities hard to reach. Let me just put it into context here. You're doing your thing where you are now having the MediLives and you're having people on their phone and so on, wherever they are in rural communities in India, Africa, the Caribbean, and so on, South Asia. No community is hard to reach. Well, not in Britain anyway, because I said to people, are these people that are so-called hard to reach, are they on Mount Everest? Are they in the jungle? Are they at the bottom of the deep blue sea? Are they on Venus, Mars, or Jupiter? It is up to us as professionals or volunteers to come from behind our ivory tower, our laptop, or from our ivory tower and go out there and engage with communities. Dr. Ahunsi, I do 145 community events per year. Gurdwaras, mosques, temples, churches, residential homes, you name it. I go there proactively and seek them out. And some of them will say, oh, no, we don't need your service or what have you. I'll go back 6 weeks later or 3 months later, I'm back knocking on doors and say, excuse me. And now since COVID-19 came in and the pandemic and lockdown, I am at home in the comfort of our conservatory here. It is no, I am busy. Every minute somebody's calling me, Tony, they're talking about commodities, about they start off with diabetes, and then they go on to high blood pressure and hypertension, and then they say things like dementia and heart disease, are all these comorbidities which affect and impact African Caribbean people more, and a weaker immune system. And I say, well, I'm not going to dispute those because I'm not medically qualified. However, alongside those, there is something known in Britain as systemic racism, health inequalities, and racial inequalities and disparities. And we cannot lose sight of those, because it pains me to know that so many African, Caribbean, and Asian people in this country have died because of COVID-19. And I'm not just talking the ones who are on the front line, not the nurses and the doctors. I'm talking people out there. I've been to every minute. I am involved in an organization called the Jamaican Diaspora UK. And every minute we hear about another person dying in Wolverhampton or Birmingham or Sandwell or the Black Country or so on. And it's all to do with people need to wake up. They need to smell the coffee. Professionals and others need to say, hey, we need to reach out to these people. That is exactly what I'm doing here across the globe now, just as I did in Dominica. This time around, I should have been in Jamaica doing this, but because of COVID, they had to put it off till next year. But I am determined that we talk about cultural competence. I am one of those who is for, we need to get the message out there. And I'm determined that this is what this is about. People need to know that it is there, and they need to come forward and say, you know what, I need to do something about my health and about my physical activity. And I need to cut down on this whole heap of starchy food that I'm eating. And I need to do all this. So I'm going to go on to the cultural myth, but I think that needed to be said there so people around the globe can realize we're not just doing this for just doing sake. We're doing this for people to change their lifestyle. You know, it's about, and if Muhammad can't go to the mountain, all these people who are saying, oh, hard to reach, then it's us Muhammads must go. If Muhammad can't go to the mountain, then Muhammad, the other way around. You know what I'm talking about. So here we are, the mountain must go to Muhammad. Well, herbal remedies is a cultural myth that's out there, where some people say, no, they're not going to take the medication. In the Caribbean and African community, they swear blind by aloe vera. While in the Asian community, it's the Corella, the bitter melon or bitter gourd. To a certain extent, yes, there are herbal remedies. Don't get me wrong. And I grew up in Jamaica where we have lots of herbal remedies. We have susumba and cerasee and all these other things there. But alongside them, one needs to also make sure that they're eating healthfully and not just rely on the herbal remedies on their own. Now, when I finish now, what I would ask in my audience, the people, is diabetes a touch of sugar? I have some people putting up their hand. And I say, so what have I been beating up my mouth here for the last hour and a half for? You coming to diabetes, when I was growing up in Jamaica as a little child, was referred to as a touch of sugar. But people need to understand, oh, may have a bit of sugar. No, it's a touch of sugar. That is minimizing and trivializing and downplaying what can be a serious, serious medical condition. And as my grandmother said, people take stick and broken to them ears or them ears hard. They need to wake up and smell the coffee. It's not a touch of sugar, more than that. Big is beautiful. I don't want to generalize here, but I know in some countries that the man is as slim or as skinny as they come, and he gives the woman as much to eat as possible, because he wants to walk down the road and say, oh, I've conquered. This is my duchess or my queen or my princess. Look at me and looking who's walking beside me. That is a recipe for disaster. That person needs to think of their weight and lose some of the weight and cut down. And therefore, big for me is not beautiful. Less is more is my motto, okay? Here's another one. Diabetes is an old person's condition. That's another myth that's out there. I said earlier, there's childhood obesity now impacting on major countries around the world, where kids as young as 13, 14, 15 are developing type 2 diabetes. So it's not an old person's condition. So that myth has to be blown out of the water. Here's one. A big belly is a sign of a happy marriage. That man there in the red trousers, he looks as if he's about to have triplets. Remember what I said? Women should aim for a waist size of 31.5 inches, ideal, but you might not be able to get there. Asian men should aim for a waist size of 35 inches, ideal. But if you're 40, then try and bring it down to 38 or so on. Make some progress in there. And we're talking around here, those who joined late, measuring from the belly button or navel string. And all white men and black men, we can go 37 inches, okay? So big belly is no sign of no happy marriage. That's another myth which we have to dispel. In some Asian communities and in others, but especially in the Asian community, there's this myth around that, oh, the more rich food I have in my larder, it shows how affluent I am and how rich I am and so on. And look, one dege strawberry, I would rather the larder be full of satsumas and kiwis and mangoes and ripe bananas and strawberries and so on, more than all that rich food. No. That's a treat 3 times a year as far as I'm concerned, okay? This comes up a lot, and we checked all this out. Oh, the Holy Bible, or in the Islamic faith, the Muslims, the Quran. The Quran says it's God's will. It's God's will. There's nothing I can do about it. Cut that nonsense out. God never want us to get no diabetes. No Muhammad, no the Prophet. So I'm not buying that. So we need to change that with the mindset that some people have that, oh, it's going to happen. And then one woman said to me about 2 years ago, she said, Tony, well, if me get it, may I go ask God for a miracle. That is one miracle. Mother said to God, no, don't go there. She should avoid it. Its prevention is better than cure in the first place. Telling me about she would ask God for a miracle to cure her. Diabetes is a mild condition. Everyone has it. It's no big deal. That's still around, and we need to get rid of it. It is now you saw the figures I said at the very beginning, whereby 2045, which is just 21 years time, or 24 years time, I should say, how it's going to be up into the 700 million. It is a major medical condition. If you have diabetes, you won't be able to find a husband. You can't have children. That's around as well. My stepmother in Canada, she's died now, but I have a half sister. The stepmother had type 1 diabetes, so she had to inject 3 times a day. It was harder for her to conceive, but she was able to have a child. And I think, no, I missed one. If you have decided to fast during Ramadan, testing your blood glucose, pricking your finger to test what your readings are, it means you're breaking your fast. Cut the nonsense out. That is not breaking the fast. And on that note, I end. Thank you very much.
Tony, what can I say? That was amazing. And you're truly a global asset for the whole humanity. Yeah. And we're all very glad and we're all very grateful to have Tony as part of our MediLife health and well-being team. Isn't that really amazing what Tony had done for us today? Tony, let me tell you, on the Facebook, there are hundreds of people, tens of people who are listening to you, and they have considered this information to be priceless.
Oh, thank you.
It has been absolutely wonderful. And we are very, very glad to have you with us. And we are confident that you will be a particular tool, like for a carpenter, like a workman, nothing to be afraid of. So we at MediLives are very, very grateful. Just for you to have that particular conference and confidence. John, any response to Tony's presentation, please? John is one of our directors.
Fantastic, Tony.
He's going to speak to you now.
Thank you, Tony. And terrifying. Yeah, you're right. Everything he said was absolutely true. And we do have a duty to ourselves to look after ourselves, not just for ourselves, for those who might have to look after us. If we start to lose a few bits. So thank you so much. I didn't know half of this stuff. I didn't know about 99% of it, to be honest with you. And thank you.
Fantastic.
You're welcome.
Fantastic. So we are going to take just a few seconds and we'll move into the actual MediLive presentation. Then we're going to have Gloria and Sophia and Edith and Dr. Nicholas, all the way from Uganda, and for them to actually tell us about their own experiences with MediLives, and then we can open the floor for people from all over the world to ask questions to about pain relief, about diabetes, and about all other medical, Tony would say medical condition, right, that everyone may be experiencing. Well, the MediLife journey started, the research.
Sunny, if you can just stop sharing so Sunny can share.
Okay.
Yeah. And the MediLife journey in total started about 9 years ago when I took my little boy that you'll be seeing in a picture in a moment was not well, right? So Tony has stopped sharing, I think, and I will start sharing my own screen. Tony, we're grateful for your selfless life for the whole humanity. And that was an amazing presentation. I'm sure everyone can see my screen. Can everybody see my screen now?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
If you just put it on slideshow.
No
Fantastic.
problem at all. If I cannot do it, then I will ask John to come and help me to do just that. Hold on 1 minute. I can put it on the slideshow. Does it say slideshow? Okay, I am sharing it.
Yeah.
And you tell me,
Offline.
just give me a second. Just give me a second. I'll put it on a slideshow in a moment. Just give me a second.
There we go. Yeah. From beginning.
Can you all see my slideshow?
Go.
Yeah.
Go
Yes.
to,
Yeah. Everybody sees me?
Yes.
yeah.
Tony, if I could just go back just to what I gained out of it, believe me, you have given me so much priceless information. Most of the time, 4 or 5 days out of the 7 days, I skip breakfast, but I won't do it now. I will eat something. Oily fish, sardine. I used to hate sardine before, but I'm gonna love it now because of this. Salmon is not really my favorite, but you did mention that the red one from Alaska. So when I go to a supermarket, I know what to ask for. Baked beans. Wow, I used to like Heinz and all the rest of them, but today's presentation said to me they are packed with salt and sugar. So I will avoid all of that. Oil, butter, I will cut down. Jam is a no-no, but only on occasion. Chocolate, yeah, I have a lot of temptation to go into chocolate, but I think you said the dark one.
Dark.
Dark one. So I've taken note of that. Avoid processed food. No to, oh my word, herbal, better than salt. Yeah. Avoid Karela and eat breakfast, less oil, only chocolate, alcohol. I like my Guinness, my Irish Guinness, because part of me is Irish. But now that you mention that, I will cut that down quite dramatically. And you stretch something, you say water, water, water,
Water.
right?
Mhm.
Amazing. And I'm sure the whole global audiences that you have tonight, they will have a lot. And if you don't mind, we're going to appoint you as our MediLife, one of our health professional. Yeah, you might be humble in terms of your submission, how you present yourself, but Tony, you are an asset to the global community. And I'm sure that all of us here in the close community within WhatsApp group and also our global community on the MediLife, Facebook, Instagram, and all the other pages have benefited enormously. And needless to stress that this is going to go on our YouTube video. So we will be working with you, and you will be working for the whole global community of the human. Thank you so much, Tony. And we will open the floor
I look
after
forward to it.
my 10-20 minutes presentation. Wonderful. 10-20 minute presentation for the global community, how MediLife, how it started. We call it a decentralization of healthcare. That's exactly what is happening. Can you imagine now anybody from any part of the world through MediLife app can have connection with Tony in any geography around the globe? That person, he or she, can have access to Dr. like Gloria, yeah, as one of our pain relief consultants, our mental health Nabilas, and Sophia, our research student who are based in India, Love Edith Mendes, and many, many doctors all over the world. I had an interesting experience this particular week. I went to the Blackheath outpatient hospital this week, and I was having my badge, my MediLife badge, and the doctor I went to see, a plastic surgeon for many, many years in NHS. He said to me, "What is this?" I said, "Well, doctor, I actually I wore the badge today just to show you what we're doing." I explained to him what we're doing, that we created an app that enables the patient to connect with a doctor in any time, in any location. You know what he said to me? He said, "The world, Sonny, needs you." He said, "I am going to be part of your system." He said, "Can I bring some of my doctor friends with different specialization?" I said, "Yes, please do," because that's the whole purpose. Nobody on this platform that is being paid for all the services they're presenting. John and I, Angela, and many of our team, we've been on this project for the last 9 years. We'll be slugging it away. People like Gloria, Tony, Sophia. Sophia has been with us for the last few months. Yes, since November last year. Can you imagine? Not a single penny. Yeah, we're not doing this for just to grab a lot of money. And that's what the doctor said to me. He said, "Sonny, you're going to be a billionaire." I said, "Well, money is not really the issue here. Of course, in time to come, we will be paid for the service we render because we are creating value for the people and the community, the global community at large. But it's going to be affordable. System that will be decentralized, which means you do not need to go to a hospital. You do not need to spend all that time and money. You do not need to wait until you are called to go and sit in front of Tony. Today, you haven't. That was the story of my son, that we were in A&E together about 9 years ago for 11 hours. You can see it's almost as handsome as his dad. Yeah, it takes after all the characteristics. Yeah. So even more handsome than his dad, almost. Isn't that really amazing? That's a boy, but thank God he's 14 today. He's 14 now, and he's healthy. But you can imagine me as a parent, the excruciating pain I had to go through. His name is Samuel, right? And at that point in time, in the adversity I'd gone through, I said I had to do something about it. My background, I'm an accountant by trade, a chartered accountant for over 30 years standing. And I've been in the financial field for the last 42 years or so. And my master's degree was on entrepreneurship, and my PhD was on managing business policies and strategy. That's my background. So when I saw this opportunity a few years ago, I decided to explore and went to different countries. John and I have traveled to so many countries in order to meet doctors, patients, and all my other board members. Yeah, we've been to Dubai, Oman, Washington, New York, and John and I were sleeping in the same room, but not in the same bed, very, very recently in Miami, right? Because all the hotels were booked out. I said, John, you and I are sleeping in the same room. He said, I don't mind. So just for your comfort, we were not in the same bed, but it was amazing. You know, the experiences that we've gone through in developing and bringing about this particular platform. We're a UK-based company, currently valued around about 100 million, and we have investors who are coming in. Yes, you can invest by shares, by token, in any way as part of the project, and that's entirely your choice. You can send us information about your interest. But this is a product, this is a service, or products and services, a location-based referral protocol, assisting patients to access a physician, doctors, dentists, diabetic consultant, anyone without the need for you to travel to a physical location in order to access. You haven't traveled anywhere for you to get this valuable information from our consultant Tony tonight, have you? No, this is the whole point. Globally, we'll be providing this. Next week, we're going to be dealing with another topic which is very close to my heart: mental health. We have already a line of doctors and nurses and consultants who will be discussing these particular issues. If you want to consult with Tony for any of the information you had on one-on-one basis after this, yes, we will give you what the prices are. They are affordable at affordable cost. We promise you that. That's the whole point. Yes, you can be a user, like you listen to Tony tonight, you're able to get the MediLife information from a consultant, and you're going to hear from other ones, Sophia, Gloria, and Tatiana, and many more later this particular evening. You can become an investor if that's your choice tomorrow. And every day we are presenting opportunity that MediLife present using our token, MediLife tokens. And tomorrow we are launching the MediLife token on the exchange at 10 cents. If you'd like to be part of this, tomorrow is your day, 6 a.m. UK time. It's only for an hour. Set your alarm for 5:30 and wake up to that. Do not miss it. Believe me. We have been on this project for the last 9 years. And some people were laughing at us. They're thinking, who's going to use a MediLife app? But now, even with the advent of COVID, it is now a reality. And we can see what Tony had demonstrated tonight. Or you can become a consultant like Tony, like Gloria, like Tatiana, like Dr. James, who is a plastic surgeon, and other cardio and orthopedic, all the different, or you can become like associate or other healthcare professional that will partner with us. That's exactly what MediLife was all about. Proof of concept in 2015, but a real product today. We're all about well-being, we're all about health, we're all about therapy. These are the team of managers of this particular who are taking the leadership role. We are not limited and confined to them, as we have over 100 developers and doctors all over the world who are supporting this particular project. That's the name of the game. That's what it is. And the future can only be better and brighter. That's why this is called an innovative, a non-blood, a non-fluid, a non-surgical, a non-invasive monitoring health. Yes, according to the Global Health Initiative, GDHI 2030, 193 world governments agreed to share the global. So MediLife is taking and is in the forefront of actually providing all of that. We have civilization diseases. These are all the issues that we'll be taking, we'll be getting on with. We have things, people like cardiovascular disease that kill 30% of the global death every single year is caused by this. Greater, far greater than what the COVID is currently doing. Stress, we dealt with stress last week. Can you imagine? Just look at, alarmingly, 91% of adult Australians feel stress in at least one important area of their lives. MediLife will be bringing all of this, all the expertise, which what we dealt with last week. Somebody in the capacity of Grant Morrell and also Sophia Morgan Guinness have made enormous amount of contribution for all of that. So every single week, you can come up with any medical condition that you had. It doesn't have to be diabetes, can be any. This is what differentiates us. We're not only looking after the medical, the health and well-being, but we are looking into all of these as a versatile platform for everybody. Yes, what is it all about? MediLife, this is what it's all about. This is the key you need to take away. MediLife app is a location-based referral and unifying protocol, assisting patients to access a doctor, a consultant, 724, 365 without the need for you to travel to a physical location in order to receive that medical attention. Isn't that really amazing? That's what it's all about. Yeah. What does that bring then? Well, it brings you closer to a doctor at any point in time. So you are in constant phase with the doctor. This is what happened currently. A patient is unwell. They had to phone for an appointment. They had to go for diagnosis. All of that could take about 3, 4, 5 weeks. MediLife is saying, no, do it right now in the comfort of your mobile phone, not even in the comfort of your own home. Mobile phone, wherever you are, whenever you can have access to a medical dispensation. If I had MediLife back 9 years ago, my son and myself would not have been wasting a lot of time in the A&E for 11 hours. Would I receive medical dispensation? Yeah, this is all we're all about. Uberization, quick access to medical health care and attention. Decentralized, one-to-one, peer-to-peer. You want to have one-on-one with our consultant, Gloria, tonight, tomorrow, you can book that consultation. You can book that consultation with Tony, one-on-one, creating an empowerment. We can give you 10 hours, 20 hours, or do you believe me, at affordable rate. And the medicine or the herb recommended by any of our consultants can be delivered to you at the comfort of your own home. Whether you live in Timbuktu, whether you live in any country, in any part of the globe, we can reach you and deliver that medication to you remotely, anywhere. Innovation and technology. Yes, can you imagine somebody like our consultant Tony can be on a Zoom call on the app with another doctor in Uganda, explaining to them what they need to do to the patient, with another doctor in South Africa, in America, in Russia, any part of the globe. That's what is called AR, augmented reality. Isn't that really amazing? MediLife, yes, truly a global situation, a global tool that will save us time, will save us costs, will improve access, and provide quality care for everyone around the globe. By our ECG, Yeah, diabetes is one, home dialysis. All of these are all part of the future and other medical condition that the Medilife. Today, you can actually download it today. The Medilife app, free of charge on your Medilife. Yeah, either your app stores in terms of Google Play, if you have Samsung, or App Store if you have Apple. Amazing. Yes, that connects you with streams of doctors and consultants all over the world. You can press of a button, you can get to that medical help, that medical dispensation. Yes, we're also going to have, as we already have in London, our own clinic, but we don't call it clinic, we call it a hub where people can come and confidentially have access to either a medical doctor or a nurse or any other part of medical dispensation. Say a GP walking, dental surgery, all of that well-being is the dream that we are bringing in. You don't have to leave your home just on your mobile phone. You do not need to avoid your holiday. If you're on holiday in Egypt, you can still get in contact with your doctor back home. This is the whole idea. So you can actually download the app and you put your doctor as your point of reference if anything happens. You say to your doctor, there could be a sort of any consultation with you on an emergency using the Medilife app. Come on, it's a no-brainer. And that's exactly what Dr. James said to me. He said, this is a no-brainer. He said, we're going to make a lot of money. I said, not just about money. We're going to provide a lot of welfare to people on a global scale. Money is secondary. It's mission, then commission afterwards. Yes, a holistic approach. So these are the benefits. Reduce the current pressure on our doctors and allied professionals who are working hard every day on our behalf. We'll provide employment because you're going to be having deliveries and other associated production services in different parts of the globe. So we're not only creating health power, but we're also creating economic advantages, economic power in the process. We also realize that there are about 2 billion people who do not have a bank account. How are they going to benefit from this? So what we've done is to create a Medilife token. They can buy this token in their own local currency, in their own mobile money. And with this, they have on the Medilife app, you also have a payment system like a bank, and you also have a private and public key. What that means, you have your own bank account in crypto, you can pay in crypto. You simply buy in your local currency, you upload it onto your system, you can use it to pay doctors, you can use it to pay Dr. Gloria, you can use it to pay consultant Kelly, Sophia, Tatiana, in any part of the globe. So you don't need to worry about foreign currency exchanges. And this token is the one that we're listing on the exchange tomorrow morning. If you can wake up 6 a.m., you can buy some, you can trade with some, and you can use the token in any way you want. You can buy a HODL, H-O-L-D. That's not a misspell. It's actually a misspelled originally about 8 years ago by one of the writers on the journals on the blockchain and cryptocurrency. Now it's been adopted as the official spelling of holding in the crypto world. Buy and hold, HODL for capital growth. People might want to do that. The current price of our token is about 3 cents. You can decide to buy some and hold on to it. Bitcoin was exactly the same price 10 years ago. Today, Bitcoin is over 15,000 pounds. Yeah, I dropped it slightly. Obviously, it goes up and down, but I always say in crypto, put as much money as you can afford to lose, right? You can convert your Medilife token into exchangeable BTC and spend it all over the globe, or you can trade with it on the platform. Recently, John and I and many other team, our consultant Gloria, And in fact, they nicknamed Gloria as the painkiller. The kings and queens and everybody else were coming up with their medical issues to Gloria. Now, people in Uganda can have access to Gloria, although she is not physically in Uganda, but right here in the UK. People in Uganda, they can have access to Tony right here in the UK. They can have access to Tatiana, who is based in, I don't know where Tatiana lives now. I think Middle East or something like that, or Dubai. Yeah, I think that's where she lives. So what we're saying, MediLive is bringing about what is called, what is it called now? Is a proximity being brought about by means of what? Technology. This is what MediLive is all about. This is how it all started. And we can now see the movement of what is actually happening. All of you supporting this particular venture, this particular, this is part of our corporate social responsibility. Our aim and effort is to support a lot of charitable initiatives. We're already supporting orphanages in India as we speak, orphanages in Tanzania, orphanages in Nigeria, and we want to extend it. If you have any chosen charity that you want us to support, let us know. We are also supporting and sponsoring students at various universities in the UK and many parts of the world for them to, we want to support a lot of students who are on their research development. Part of financial packages, part of our corporate social responsibility in terms of supporting these students who are working really hard, and where we want to provide additional, hand they cannot clap with, right? In Jamaica, we say one hand can clap, right? No matter if you raise up your hand, Tony, I want you to raise up your hand, your favorite hand. Yeah, everybody should do that. Yeah, please raise up your hand. Yeah, mine is this one. I'll allow you to clap with it, right? Clap it hard, really hard. Tony, clap, clap, clap with it. No matter how long, how hard, how beautiful that hand is, it cannot clap alone. But when you bring the other hand relatively inferior to this one, Tony, you like to bring the two now together? Yeah, John, you want to do the same? Yeah, one hand cannot clap. You are the right hand, MediLife is the left hand. You can clap with us in terms of the information. One hand can clap. That's what we say in Jamaica, in the big island of the whole world. And you can see what Tony had demonstrated today. So this is what MediLife is all about. Bringing to life health and well-being to the people in the front of their own home. So what we're going to do now is to actually ask some of our consultants who are able to speak what they do, how they do it. Then we will go for question and answer. Perhaps we will start with Gloria. Consultant Gloria. Gloria, are you available to be able to speak? You can unmute and just tell people who you are, what you do. And in that case, we can take some questions. Then we go to we go after Tatiana, we will go to what's her name now? It's based in India. Love, yeah, Love Edith Mendy. Yeah. So, and then Charmaine will speak in terms of, it's all about health, it's all about well-being. Gloria, the floor is open. You've got, Gloria, you don't have any time limit for you, but everyone else has 2 maximum limit to be able to speak. Yeah, Gloria, the floor is open for you.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Tony, that was excellent. I gathered a lot of information from that. So thank you so much for that expertise, delivery. Amazing. Thank you so much. So yeah, my name's Gloria Digwe. I'm a consultant, allied health professional. I'm a physiotherapist, a clinician. I'm a university lecturer as well. I think, Tony, I met you at one of the conferences at UEL that you delivered with
With
Dr.
Pat.
Smith. Yeah, she's my
Yes.
supervisor, my PhD
Okay.
supervisor.
All
So I
right.
remember
Yes.
meeting you there. So
Yes.
you delivered a very good presentation as well
Oh, thank
that
you.
time. So yeah, I work in a GP practice. I'm a musculoskeletal consultant. In other words, I work with people that have musculoskeletal pain, like backaches, knee pain, neck pain, any type of nociceptive pain. Now, pain varies. You've got several types of pain. So the pain I particularly deal with, like I said, is tissue damage, which is nociceptive. So injuries to the tissue, to the muscles, to the ligaments, to the tendons, will inevitably lead to pain. But then I also have come across diabetic patients who also have pain. But their type of pain is what we call neuropathic pain. It's like nerve pain as a result of their complications with their diabetes. And when they tend to experience that is in their peripheries. They experience pain in their limbs, their arms, their fingers, their legs, and their toes. And their type of pain tends to present as stabbing, burning, tingling, pins and needles when it initially starts. But when it becomes severe, it ends up being numbness. And like Tony said at one point in his presentation, it's very important that people with diabetes watch their feet, because when it gets to the point where you don't feel pain, you can easily, bruise it or injure it or stab it on, knock it on something. And the problem with diabetes is that the healing is very, very slow, poor blood circulation. So inevitably, they could easily end up, becoming, those wounds can easily end up becoming infected, develop gangrene. And majority of diabetes patients, if they don't take care of their peripheries, what we call peripheral neuropathy, they end up having amputee. You get in Nigeria, when I went to Nigeria, there were a lot of young guys in hospital with half a limb, half a foot, ankle cut off, lower limb cut off, even up to the point where their hips up to their hips, depending on how bad the infection has spread, they end up having one kind of amputation or the other, and then they have to have a prosthesis and have to live life from that perspective, which can also now, like Tony said, bring on severe depression for a young person who now has to live a type of life that he's not used to living. It's like your whole life has been thrown down the drain. So when it comes to pain, we've got neuropathic pain, nerve pain, we've got nociceptive pain. So various types of pain are out there. And we, hopefully with the information that Tony is delivering, people will become, educated as to how to manage their conditions, or even how to prevent, because preventative measures are really important. And also for those who are borderline in becoming diabetic type 2, which is so easy to become, we need to be aware of the foods, the lifestyle, the activities we get involved in. Get yourself active, get into either Pilates or Zumba, or, do something to create activity in your life in order to have a very good, wellness to yourself, which will also impact on mental health as well. So yeah, that was great stuff, and advocate it 100%, Tony. So yeah, let's keep on doing this and sharing and sharing and sharing. Thank you, guys.
Fantastic. Thank you, Gloria. Gloria was one of those few, believe me, we're always fighting, but she's my sister, close to my heart. People, when we went to Uganda, Gloria was able to evaluate what was actually happening. Some 2 days, Gloria could not even eat because of the condition he found the people. We now feel that MediLife is power ready to be able to add value to this particular community. We're not just simply saying that, yeah, Africans are the one, healthcare and well-being, the medical condition that people go through every single day, everywhere around the globe, even here in the UK. Can you imagine? I mean, I was in the hospital with my son for 11 hours. And how many people are creating and dying of a debilitating condition, medical condition? Medilife can bring this doctor, as my Dr. James said yesterday, he said, in the comfort of their own home, I can provide them with assistance. He said, even sometimes, just the patient to be able to speak to doctors over the phone, he said that reduces their medical adverse condition by 67%. Can you imagine? Just to speak to a doctor alone. So a patient can be based in any part of the globe. They speak to Gloria, they speak to uh, Sophia, they speak to Tony, they speak to all the other consultants on this particular platform, and they get well. In fact, one of them is actually on today's presentation. He was there with us last week. We're going to find out from him the recommendation he was given, how it had helped him. After we have gone through Sophia, could you unlock yourself and speak to us? Can we be grateful to Sophia? Sophia was the one that linked us to this incredible man, Tony, that will be part of the asset that Medilife will be able to work with in terms of bringing well-being and healthcare delivery to the global community. Sophia, the podium is now open for you.
Hiya. Hi. So, Tony, we worked together several times. So absolutely excellent. Hi, John. So for me, of course, I'm going to want to add that little bit about the vegan aspect of it. So I just want to give that little bit of a balance because that's where I'm coming from. So you talked about the omega-3s and you were talking about the importance of the omega-3. I just wanted to say I was taking some notes here. That black beans, kidney beans, which you mentioned, walnuts, winter squash, chia seed, flax seeds, blueberries, spinach, cauliflower seed, all of those are areas where we can get the omega-3s as well. Algae oil is another way to get that vegan omega-3. So for me, the same way that you said about sea salts have been toxic, we've got to think about the fish also being toxic. So we do need to keep that levels down. But if you want to get your omega-3s, then these are other ways of getting it. So that's really, really important for us to understand as well. With the B12, just to add to what you had, was also I use nutritional yeast, which is a vegan way of getting your B12. And also you mentioned the plant milks, and nori sheets are another way, and mushrooms are another way of getting your B12, and other vegan ways of getting that in. It's also, when you talked about fiber, and I think that is so important with our diet. And I always think avoid foods without fiber. So you're talking about your meat, your fish, your dairy stuff. They don't have fiber in it. And so you need to really stay away from those things. You talked about bring your meat down. And for me, yes, definitely bring that meat down. If you can get rid of that meat, even better, because of course it doesn't have the fiber, and it also increases your risk of getting diabetes. And although there is a difference between red meat and white meat, there's not that much of a difference. Do you know what I mean? The best thing is to really go for your fruit, your fiber, your vegetables, your beans, your lentils, which what Tony mentioned. That's perfect. And even looking at fish and shellfish is so toxic now. We really have to limit that down. Regarding with research on that, if you have a serving once a week of shellfish, it increases your diabetes to 5%. If you have it daily, it increases it 35%. It's quite high if you eat a lot of fish. So I know a lot of people think, well, I won't have meat, I'm going to have fish instead, and eat it every single day, then you're still occurring a problem. So if you have to have it, see it as that special occasion as opposed to that regular thing, because it is increasing your chances there. So that's the thing. And the reason being with meat, whether it's going to be red meat or white meat, is looking at that trans fat, that saturated fats, and the hemi ions inside the meat, which weakens your insulin. So I missed the very beginning of yours, but we understand it's your intermuscular lipids which is causing your body not to for the insulin to be blocked and for your body not to be working effectively. And meat will do that with you, especially because there's no fiber. We talked about the B12. And I thought it was very, very important. And it's not just, people think that it's a vegan thing, and it's not just a vegan thing. 39% of us can suffer from B12. And you mentioned that for you, Tony, you have that low energy. I just wanted to say there's other kind of signs and symptoms which are really, really important. People realize could do with yours, it was anemia as well, wasn't it? But it's also your memory. You can get irreversible nerve damage. You can have heart problems. It can cause deafness. It can cause tingling in your hands and feet, and that kind of numbness in your hands and feet. So it's important that it is addressed. And you've got to remember that the antibiotics, which majority of the antibiotics are fed to livestock, the majority of vitamin B12 is also fed to livestock. The antibiotics kills the good bacteria and the bad bacteria, and B12 is a good bacteria. So if you're having a lot of antibiotics, then that can make you more susceptible to those kind of deficiencies in B12. So that's something that we need to, when we're talking about what foods to eat, I just remembered there was a way for me to remember to get that colors of the rainbow. Think about the red foods. So you talked about your fruit, your tomatoes, and all that kind of stuff. So that's good for your blood, for your heart, anything to do with that. Your white foods are good for your immune system. Your yellow foods are good for your skin. Your orange food is good as a natural anti-inflammatory. Your purple foods are good antioxidants, and your green foods are good for detoxing and cleansers. So get them all in. And of course, you know that my passion is about magnesium. So it's important to understand the balance of magnesium and diabetes. And when you are diabetic and you're urinating a lot, you are losing a lot of magnesium in your urine. So that's something we need to replace. You talked about the sensitivity with regarding the lack of sensitivity regarding your feet and if you get cuts and so forth. So magnesium, we've got the body butter where you can apply it on top of your skin, and that can help to keep the skin soft so that you don't get those hard skin, so that you can feel those cuts and bruises. Magnesium also helps because it's working with your cells, is helping your body to improve your insulin resistance and to utilize glucose. It's also helping your body to heal quicker as well. So it's good for that kind of metabolism of your body. So it's really, really important. Of course, it's a natural anti-inflammatory, so it brings down the inflammation. It also helps to relieve pain and cramps. So it's so important in that way. And so it's really important to get your magnesium, get that balance. Remember, your leafy greens is a good source of getting magnesium, as well as getting it via the skin. With Morgan Genius products, we do a whole range that can help with that. But it's about getting your watermelons, your fruit, your avocados, another way of getting your omega oils in as well. It's about getting those fruit and vegetables in, and reducing or cutting out your meat, fish, and dairy is really, really important to your overall health and well-being. So that's what I wanted to add.
Sophia, you're always a legend for MediLife. You and Gloria, we cannot say enough. And of course, with all the other upcoming. Tatiana, are you there? I know it's late now in Dubai, in the Middle East. Are you there to be able to bring your own contribution? Tatiana, the floor is open.
Hello, I'm Tatiana. I'm from New Jersey. I am a pediatric nurse. For over 8 years, I've been specializing in care of children with respiratory disorders. And I just want to add that I really appreciate the presentation today about the diabetes from Tony, because he mentioned a lot of great points about the nutrition and about how we shouldn't depend on just medication to solve the issues that we have. And one thing that's really important, especially with children that have respiratory disorders, is salt. It's just the worst thing they can have because it causes water retention, and this will affect their ability to breathe. So it's just, I feel that it's very important for people who have children to know about these things too, about diet and the importance of the fruits they choose and vegetables they choose in their children's diet starting early, because some like today, they like McDonald's, they like these fast foods, but it's just gonna hurt them now when they're young and later on. So having this information is so vital for mothers, new mothers, and also for children to know what they should be eating at an early age and later, so that they won't have more difficulty with respiratory issues. So I feel this is really something useful for MediLives, being able to have someone there to tell a parent not just what medication to get if the child's not well, but how to avoid having a problem later on. So diet's very important, exercise, and all those things can prevent further difficulties. So I'm very excited about MediLives and how, just by using your phone, you can quickly get to someone who's very educated and able to help with simple questions about what they should eat, what should they avoid, depending on their medical conditions. So I'm excited about that.
Fantastic. Tatiana, we're grateful for your contribution, and one of our mighty, but when you see Tatiana, very small in size, but she's about 9 feet tall.
Too funny.
Amazing woman indeed. So we're now going to go to our next consultant, Charmaine. Charmaine, are you there? Fondly, I just called this woman C. Charmaine.
Hi.
The podium is
Hi.
open.
Good night. Good night. Thank you. Good evening, all. So thank you, Sunny, for the opportunity. And yes, very informative. Of course, Tony, Sophia, Gloria, and Tatiana for sharing all the valuable information. But for me, I come from a little bit of a different angle, because we're talking about type 2 diabetes, right? And even though over all the years, we look at what is causing it, is because our bodies have too much sugar. So if you think about a bowl of sugar, and of course, we, like according to Tony's statistics, how over the years, how things have gotten worse and worse. So many people are suffering from diabetes because, as we got told, we eat a low-fat diet. And of course, we eat, all this processed food as well, this low fat, that low fat. What we have to bear in mind is that when you say low fat, it means that the natural fat in whatever that product is, it has to be taken out, and the good tasting stuff is put back in through aspartame and sugars like that are not good for you. So the thing is, the sugar, the key here is to get the sugar out of the system. Now, I have seen lots of studies where using this type of lifestyle, which is a ketogenic lifestyle, and it can be adapted for vegans and for vegetarians, is where you have just 5% of what you eat being carbohydrates, 20% is moderate protein in whatever form you want to choose, but 75% of that is good dietary fats. So it also works really well with intermittent fasting. Now, I know you said that you didn't eat breakfast for 5 days of the week, but what intermittent fasting does, and I know it's probably a new way of thinking, but all I say is that the proof is in the pudding. You can't go wrong by trying it out. So intermittent fasting, when we eat our last meal at, say, 8 o'clock at night, our body goes into fasting really and truly about 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning. If you get up and you eat at 7, there is very much a small window of opportunity for the body to naturally burn fat. So we extend that out. So you eat more like lunchtime or after. And what that does, it heals the body. We have a lot of non-communicable diseases, and these non-communicable diseases are caused because even though we get told, oh, eat it little and often, every time we eat, our insulin levels rise. And therefore, we have too much insulin in our system. The problem, and then of course, when we get told we have diabetes, we are given drugs that keep that insulin resistance up. And you see, over the years, people taking diabetic medication, but from year 1, when you get to year 5, you're told to take more of this insulin, this metformin, or more insulin. They don't tell you to stop, because what they tell you is that it can't be cured, but it can be cured. And as I say, you don't knock it until you try it, because in the absence of sugar, the body will go to the fat stores to use as your main source of energy. So the thing is, what we have to do is to get a mindset where we tend to not eat all the time, because we start to eat, but what we eat is important. So yes, of course, what Tony was saying, what Sophia was saying, we eat whole, we eat all the greens, all the colors of the rainbow, we eat them, and not only eat them, but we try to be very creative with how we prepare it. So rather than just having steamed cauliflower, we can now have cauliflower mash, and we could make it with coconut oil. But these things is not just to be eating deep fried stuff, but it's to have 75% of your diet in fat by calculating it properly. You're not just overdoing it, but you're eating things like organic butter. I know this is not for the vegan, but I know that it can be vegan adapted as well. But the key is, when we we suppress the insulin, and especially like Sophia just said, magnesium is key. There is when your insulin is suppressed, there is a mineral dump that happens, and magnesium is very key. But one thing that is used to help the body to regulate is something called electrolyte water. So you drink electrolyte water, and that is made, as Tony mentioned, from Himalayan salt, lemon, and just plain water. And you drink that, and that with your magnesium and potassium, and it helps you to regulate those minerals that you are missing. Because if we look at it, if we talk about sleeping tablets, if you take a sleeping tablet today and you manage to have a good night's rest, if you continue to take it consistently, then by month 2, there is no effect. Your body's built up a resistance. We are now in COVID-19. If we are given a vaccine to make us resistant to a virus, then we are resistant. We are viral resistant because we've taken that vaccine. So if we take insulin and metformin, it means that our insulin resistance goes up, but we are not insulin sensitive, which is what will make the blood sugar go down and be healed completely. It's not something, you know, they tell us it can't be reversed. It can be reversed. It probably won't be for everybody, but it's a very nutritious and very enjoyable way to change your lifestyle. Yes, of course, with the exercise as well. And, you know, in contrast to what we've been told in the past, that you have to work out hours a day and whatever, that's not necessary. As Tony was saying, taking a walk, doing aerobic exercises, because what happens is sometimes when we stress our bodies out from strenuous exercises, there's the cortisol hormone, it rises and it defeats the purpose. You then can't even burn fat. And then you become so hungry after the exercise that it defeats the purpose, because you're now fighting yourself with hunger, and you're going to just break your lifestyle and eat whatever it's about. And the other thing is as well is to be in a love relationship with your kitchen, becoming creative and learning to cook and really expand your repertoire, so to speak, because everything in the groceries are sugar. Everything, even though it don't need to have sugar, it is full with sugar. So unless you could take control and you prepare your meals yourself, you're really at the mercy of getting sick. And then the pharmaceutical companies, of course, they just pump you with pills for the rest of your life, and which is what you don't want. So like it was said earlier, prevention is better than cure. So we don't want, and for those that have type 2 diabetes, even though it might be a different way of thinking, that you have high fat, not the low fat thing. We've been hearing about the low fat thing for years, and the situation continues to get worse and worse, as the statistics just showed. So it's not about low fat, but it's about good dietary fat on a moderate protein and very low carbs, which comes in the forms of spinach, all vegetable, cruciferous vegetables, eating the colors of the rainbow, and keeping, as Tony said, to keep the fruits to the least sugary fruits like berries, raspberries, strawberries, those kind of fruits. Now, I'm not saying that you can't have a complete balance, but when you are healed, because you can't be completely healed with this lifestyle. Many people have been completely healed. I had a friend that did it, you know, for 2 weeks and was able to stop taking his metformin, right? But you have to carry it on. But you come to a point where you are completely healed, and then you could come back into maintenance. And then, of course, like Tony was saying, you could have a little bit of the rice and everything. But whilst you're trying to heal the body, and you're trying to get your body from insulin resistant to sensitivity, it means to come away from everything looking like sugar. Even with the labels, they hide sugar. They call it all these long fancy names. And because it doesn't say SUGAR, you think you're all right. So the best thing is to eat whole foods, eat and prepare your own meals so you know exactly what you're having. Do your moderate, we call it HIIT training exercises, where you exercise with only 20-second intervals of high intensity and 2 minutes of active recovery. So like 10-minute, 11-minute workouts, or just doing walks and just keeping active is a good way to consistently keep your health and your lifestyle and your eating in order. So the key is to keep the resistance, get the sugar out of the system completely, because taking the tablets is just going to mean over the years, you start with one tablet, you're going to end up taking 2, then they're going to put you on more, and you just go on and on. But this is a way, it's probably might be the most known way, but is a way that you can help your body to heal itself and then start on a fresh scale and go back into maintenance. But initially, to get your blood sugars normal consistently is about taking everything like those breads and rice and all those carbs out of the equation completely until your body is healed, and then reincorporating them afterwards, and with a more informed way of eating. Of course, the whole lifestyle, it's holistic. You have to do what you have to do. Drinking the water is amazing. That is very key. We need that, because that way our kidneys don't hold on to the water, because that's what makes us retain water when the kidneys is not sure of what supply of water it will be getting. But if we give it a ready supply, then we get rid of that water and the body is more lean. So of course, all of that, it's a whole holistic approach. But the key for what I can see and what my experience is to reverse type 2 diabetes is to keep that blood sugar, to keep sugar out of the diet completely, and use the body to heal itself over time. So, and there are lots of beautiful recipes out there. It's not boring, low fat this. No, it's not boring. It's very, very satisfying, because fat, healthy fat, good fat, organic fat, they satiate you. They keep you satisfied for longer. And as you fast, your body goes into a state of ketosis, and therefore you don't feel hungry eventually. Because if we talk about the cavemen were known for their vigorous vitality and strength, and they didn't eat every day. They fasted because they go out and hunt and get food again 2 days, 3 days down the line. So I know that society has got us accustomed to eating every minute, but it's too much pressure on the body. It's too much pressure on the intestines. It doesn't get a chance to replenish and to revive and to be rejuvenated. So that's why we get these inflammation, which causes these non-communicable diseases. And as with the diabetes, the more sugar that you have and the more insulin that you're taking, it's like a bowl of sugar that spills over and it goes into the body, and in effect, it causes the body to rot. So that's why we have the blindness, we have amputations, you have all these plethora of illnesses that just come from diabetes alone. But it is a condition that could be, that not in every case, but in a lot of cases, I believe, could be healed through dietary maneuver using fasting as well. So high fat, low carb, in conjunction with intermittent fasting, where your body just naturally satiates itself over time and you're not struggling to keep, but your body continues to heal as you go along. So you get rid of the problem completely. You don't put a plaster on the sore, you go to the root cause of it and keep sugar far away from anything that you're eating. And that's the best way. And the only way you can control that is if you make everything that you consume. So eating out and all of that whilst you're healing will be kind of out of the picture. So that is my take on reversing type 2 diabetes. And it's you can't knock it until you try it. Those who have been resistant with it, they've tried it, and the proof is in the pudding, so it's just a new way and a tasty way of trying a new strategy and seeing how your body responds, and you come off of metformin and everything like that. And then you just maintain that lifestyle, or come back in with maintenance, bringing in your healthy foods after you've healed. So that's what, that's my take. But yes, thank you everybody for all the input and everything. But yeah, just a little different spin on it.
Fantastic, Jermaine. And this is all very complimentary, isn't it? Because we're looking into our well-being, our body from different angles. We have different specialists looking into different ways. This is what MediLife is all about, to make life better, to bring about healthcare that is affordable, accessible by all from all over the world, in every corner. Any information that you receive from this today, you want to consult with any of the consultants, you can send it to MediLives, either by email or on Facebook. You raise those questions, then and anyone who wishes to book any specific appointment with our consultant Gloria, or with Sophia, or with Charmaine, or with Edith, or with our presenter today, our signature presenter, Tony Kelly, let us know, put it on, and we are ready. We are here to be able to, supporting you in your way in actually getting good health. I think this tip today for me, Tony, what you've done today for me is amazing. You just cannot imagine. I think you have transformed my life around in terms of, you see, since that time you mentioned this, I'm drinking water and water and water in my MediLife cup. And I'm going to send you one of these cups. very, very soon as part of the gift that you have. And Gloria will have one, Sophia will have one, Shamel will have one, and Edith will have one. We send it to you all the way in Egypt. Are you in Egypt, Edith? Edith, Love Edith is a research student fellow from one of the universities that we're working with in terms of creating research. Yeah, Edith, the floor is open for you now. And you're welcome. Yeah, I know it's very late in India, but you are here with us. Unmute yourself and you can speak to us, love.
Very good morning from India to everyone.
You are in the wrong time zone. I keep on telling you this.
We love it that way. Yes, this section today has been very, very interesting and powerful. I really enjoyed it and I learned so much from it. I think it's what everybody needs to know, whether you're in a diabetic condition or not. It's just a way to keep and have a healthy life altogether, watching what to eat, our body, what comes in and out of what is very important. Thank you so much, Dr. Tony Kelly. I'm really.
Remember, it doesn't want to be called a doctor, but we know what you mean. In India, you will be regarded as a doctor, but Tony is very humble.
Yes. So, I've really been, it's been an enlightening section, and all the consultants, it's been wonderful journey with Lives. It's been a wonderful journey. I'm so enjoying it. And yes, I'm a research scholar, specifically on plant bio nanotechnology, with a special interest in the biosynthesis and characterization of nanoparticle for treatment of diseases such as the diabetes or rheumatic arthritis or cancer and all other ones. And being in MediLife has been one of an exciting journey for me, though I've not been here for a very long time, but I've known Dr. Sonny, my father, for a very long time. So it's like I've been there for a very long time. So I'm grateful and thank you very much. And also, I don't know if Caleb is awake.
Yeah, he's here on the platform. Caleb?
Yeah, though he told me he was already feeling sleepy. So in the course
Yeah,
of
he's here.
okay,
He's here. He can speak. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
He's one of the few that I wanted to pick on. Yeah. What's his name again? Edith. When you finish, then Caleb can speak based on what he's experienced so far on the platform.
Yeah, I'm actually sure.
Okay.
Please.
Wonderful. Okay. Caleb, I think you spoke to some of our consultants about a week ago or so. Can you give us some of the experiences that you had and some of the practical recommendations they're giving you and they have worked, or to the contrary? The floor is open for you now. Unmute yourself and you can speak to us.
Yes. Good morning, everybody. Good morning from India. Am I audible?
You're very audible. Yeah, you live in the wrong time zone. That's the only problem.
To God be glory. Okay. I'm Caleb by name. I'm a pharmacist by profession. Wow. Being here has been a kind of a great thing that I will always like. Even I feel like making me up to come and join these other professionals to come and join this platform, because I was having some health issues, and so I was discussing with Love. I said they gave me professional advice on what to do here, and the doctors I met in my hospital here, they just prescribe drugs after everything. So it's even actually the dietary aspect of it, about the food. I should make a diary. I should just observe things. So I've really seen a lot and really benefited a lot from that. And talking about today's lecture, actually, I also have a diabetic patient that is under my care. So all these, even as it has gone through, I thank God it was live. So it will always be on Facebook that I have going to be going through over and over again, because some lectures cannot be just be just wiped off like that. Maybe you have to also recap in order to get more and more details about it. So yes, even as a pharmacist here, I've learned a lot even from this, because all these that you're saying, like talking about the food aspect of it mostly, and also drugs, because like drugs that are being used for all these diabetic patients, he also said it too. Like most of these drugs, they also have side effects. There's a side effect that they also cause to the patient sometimes. So it's better with them, it's being managed in a kind of way, maybe with diet and other things to really help the patient. So I've really benefited a lot from this great platform. Thank you very much.
Very good. And Caleb, I mean, I think it was last week you had some recommendation from our consultant, Gloria, was it Sophia and
Yes.
Charmaine, and implementing that, how had that improved your health condition in the last few days?
All right, sir. It has really been helpful, because the advice I was given to watch my make a note, make a diary about my diet. I should take more rest, and also fruits too, and also I should watch the way I do my own activities, talking about not stressing myself much. So I benefited a lot. And this week, from last week till now, I've really seen a lot of changes by God's grace. Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. So you being a pharmacist, we would like to have you listed as part of our consultant. And on the platform, we will get your detail through Love, and we will put you. So you're going to be in the same position as Gloria and Kelly, Sophia, and all the other medical and well-being professionals that we have on our platform. This is the whole essence of MediLife, able to receive this medical and health and well-being in the comfort of your home, your mobile phone, wherever you may be. So we are glad we're providing valuable services to the whole human race. We've been on this project now, John and I, Angela, myself. I mean, these are the core, what I call the core rigidity. 19 days in 2017-18. It has been non-stop. But we are so glad for all our consultants. All of you are working selflessly. Nobody is paid for this. And from our part, John and I, we have to always spend money to make sure we get this platform ready for the human race to use. We put mission before commission. I am telling you guys, commission is coming to you handsomely. And what we're going to be doing right now, we're setting up a department that will be contacting you individually. We'll upload you, then we'll have what is called a contract with you, right? Whereby we start referring patient to you, and you get 1%, we get 99, or we give you 80, we get 20, whichever it is. So all these are going to be in place. So don't be surprised once we send you an email in the not very distant future. And for those of you who got products, omega-3 and magnesium, we will make this available to our streaming clients, potential user on our e-commerce website. And this is what made MediLife fundamentally different. We have e-commerce website whereby the product and services provided by Charmaine, by Dr. Gloria, and by Tony, all of these will be made available and people pay for our service affordably. We use the word affordably because we are not here really to exploit anyone. We are looking for doctors and consultants with heart, not just with paycheck. That's not what we're looking for here, because we are taking this to a lot of disadvantaged countries where people do not have access to medical dispensation. They are not in England, but they can enjoy the benefit of doctors and consultants in England, although they are based in Peru, they are based in Cuba, they are based in Moscow, they are based in Jerusalem, they are based in Port Harcourt in Nigeria, they're based in Accra, they're based in Kampala and Tebe, Ginger. This is a whole ethos. We are very grateful for all of you for your selfless service, but I can assure you that we are moving in the right direction. Every morning we are awake. Every afternoon we are alert. Every evening we are watching to see how we can improve people's health. So for the remaining 10 minutes that we have, we will leave the floor for the audience to ask questions. And on the basis of those questions, you can direct it to any of the consultants or any of the professional on the platform. And Caleb, if we can have your details so that we can upload your detail onto the system. And as a pharmacist, you can actually be one of our consultants in pharmaceutical world in order to bring benefit to the whole human race. I'm sure by cross-fertilization, all the different professionals on this particular platform, there will be what is called interchange of medical intelligence, health and well-being intelligence that we're all going to be gathering, and that can help also promoting well-being and healthcare. And you already mentioned, Caleb, that you have one of your patients who is diabetically driven at the moment, challenged, yet I'm sure Tony will be on hand, Gloria will be on hand to be able to provide you with a lot of support, and you can become, you're not only going to become a pharmacy, you're going to become a pharmatic pharmacist. Yeah, if that helps you to understand. If that was not in the English dictionary, it's there right now. So the floor is open for all the audience in Facebook and also on this particular Zoom, right? We kept the Zoom to a low number because we'll be subject to hijacks and everything else, people posting all sorts of different things. Charmaine will tell you all the other one that we have in recent time, but now we only allow those who we know and who are presented to be on this particular Zoom. Everyone else is on Facebook. So the floor is open. Good evening, and morning, and afternoon. Right, any question? We are waiting. Tony is waiting to ask any questions. We've only got 7 minutes left. And is there anyone who have posted any question on Facebook?
Not at the moment, no.
Okay, but what are some of the comments we're getting from Facebook? Can you read them out, some of them, please?
I think there's one person coming for question. That's Nabila.
Okay.
I think she's just coming in now.
Okay.
Hi, Nabila.
Here you go, I think.
Hi, Nabs. I only have one sister, and that's the only one coming up now. SYSSSTA is the only one. Nabs? We can hear you. Just unmute your mic. Nabs? Nabila, can you hear us? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you, Sonny. Good evening.
Nabila.
Yeah, Nabila, you have a question?
No, not at the moment, no.
Okay. Nabila will be the one hosting next week with Sophia on mental health. We understand that this is a very, very intricate and very, what should I say? It close to my heart to see a lot of people suffering from mental health. The background, so we have the competence in this particular platform to be able to provide this particular support for a lot of people who are suffering from all of this. Okay, we have some comment from different parts of the world, from Pakistan. Umair, he said, very informative, yeah, with all the different presenters that are presented today. And we have Alfred Samuels, he said, extremely informative. And we have Lovey Dick, I totally agree with you. Then we have great Julius Emery, a humanist. He says, so educative and thanks. He's from Nigeria. And Blessed Elijah, yeah, and somebody who was listening in London here, he said, absolutely priceless, the information you guys are providing. Then we got Marino Cavlo from Spain, very educative, dear, and very clear. You have Sango Sanya Wells, right? He said very educative, yeah, or maybe Walid. Then you have K Day, say highly educational and well presented. Thank you, Tony. This one's particularly related to Tony. Why aren't you thanking my sister Gloria? What's the matter with you, you guys? Okay. Then we have a GP, Dr. Kelechi, based in UK. Say thank you so much, Tony. It was a well simplified talk, making it easy for a lay man and woman to understand, succinctly presented. Well done, Tony. Right, that's from a Dr. Kelechi. Then we have Stephen Sally say, thank you, Tony, for raising this amazing awareness. Then you have Natalia, I think also this one from the UK or from Latvia. He said, extremely useful and opened my eyes completely. I will not eat jams and all of that, but again, then you have my older sister called Vivian Jen Effia. He said, awesome, awesome to every single one of you. Then Marisa said, no doubt that this is what the whole world requires and is helping her to manage her diabetic condition. Isn't that really amazing? Then we said, this is Joy. Joy said, this is amazing program. Thank you so much. Angela Oates Moses said, thank you, Tony. This was rather informative. You made it so interesting and nice. Then we have Joy from Uganda. He said, a big thank you from all of you who have presented. Then we have Dr. Joshua Jogo. He said, this is a game changing, Dr. Tony, for health, caring, and well-being globally. I am in totally. Yeah, these are some of the reading from different parts of the globe and different areas of human endeavor. Next week, we'll be dealing with mental health, and this will be governed by a professional, obviously, Dr. Tony, Ambassador Tony, and Consultant Tony. We cannot afford not to have you on every single presentation that we have, right? So thank you, Sonny, Tony, John, and Cole. Top-notch program. Kudos to Oyo Ego. That's from a medical doctor themselves. So you can imagine doctors and other health care professionals. This is what Medilife is designed for as a tool that will support our medical team who are working. We know majority of you are not just doing it for money, because I have about 6-7 people who are in the medical field in my family. I see what they go through every day. If you're doing it for money, believe me, some of you will not do it. So this is a reality. So next week, same time, 6 to 9, we'll be discussing with mental health. If you have any question relating to this, send it to us, and we are willing and able to deal with all of that confidentially. Officially, the time is now closed. Have a good night, have a good morning, have a good evening, and have a good afternoon, wherever you may be. Thank you so much. John, I just need to leave the floor for you for 1 minute, and so that you can speak to all our medical team and for their hard work.
I'm absolutely knocked out by this tsunami of information, and it is life-changing. I did listen, Tony, and all ladies. My diet leaves much to be desired. It's sort of grab what's there, and as long as it fills me up, that's enough. So, yeah, and I think the local Indian restaurant's going to declare me a saint. So I might give that one a miss. There was one thing I did want to ask. A good few years ago, it was a really hot summer, really a roaster. And I used to buy bags of little Satsuma sort of things, you know, little oranges from Tesco's, and they'd be on the desk and I'd eat them. And next thing I knew, I had a kidney stone. And is it that too much? Well, it's acetic acid, isn't it? Can form kidney stones. The kidney stone is gone, long gone, thank God. I have to look it up. Anyway, don't eat too many oranges. Good night, everybody. It's been a fantastic.
Thanks a lot, John. Yeah, been wonderful. So we'll be contacting all of you and get everyone in place so that we can upload all your details and all your information for people to start using. And anyone, you just ask them, contact MediLives, because we're going to set all of you up as our consultant. Any presentation, we can direct, everyone to you. We will sign a contract with all of you so that we start, because we are getting loads of inquiry every single day that we did a presentation. And we need to make sure that we're able to put this into a commercial reality. Yeah, we are not charity, but we are creating what is called an affordable healthcare services to the global community. Have a good night, have a good evening, have a good morning, have a good afternoon, wherever you may be. See you next week, same time. Invite your friends for them to become participants in this particular program. Thank you very much.